Salutations, everyone. This is Trooper SJP, and this is the Academic Foxhole, and also the. I don't have my phone. Also, it's the Saturday broadcast of. Hold on a second. I want my phone. Hang out with me. All right. It's the. You can't see me. It's all right. I'm back. Boom. This is the Saturday Dragon Age Inquisition broadcast, and. Hey, Ice Bunny! I know, it's the tiniest camera. So here's what it is. So first off, the big surprise is, guess what? I got the PS4 camera, which is my 250 subscriber goal. But I felt like we're really close to 250 subscribers, so I'll get it now anyway. Tiny Trooper! Right, so here's my 250 camera surprise. Isn't that exciting? I know! Little tiny man. It's like if you ever watched... Kids in the Hall, right? They're like, I crush your head. I can just like crush my own head since I'm so tiny. So here's the thing. I could be taller, but I can't be taller and also see the chat. So as long as I have the chat up, then I have to be super tiny. And if I am able to work out some means to see chat otherwise, then maybe you can see me bigger. But at the moment, I'm just looking at you chat-wise right there. So, but here's the point. I'm here. I'm all. I'm hanging out with my PS camera so that you can see me, because I feel like when I talk to you, you know, I want to tell you things, but then you don't get to see my can't see my face. So you can't tell if I'm being sarcastic or not. Thank you, PH. I appreciate it. How are you all doing this Saturday? What's new and exciting with you? I feel like, you know, maybe one day I will get a solution so I can, I don't know, put the chat somewhere where I can see it, like, I don't know, right there, and then I can see it, and then you can have me bigger face. Oh, good! PH is doing well. I'm so happy about that. You know what? I'm going to have something really delicious to eat at some point in time, but not right now, and I don't know what that will be. I haven't figured out my food solutions for the day, but that's alright. Oh! Ice Bunny, don't have a cold. Don't have a cold. You watched Exalted, face-palmed a bit over Drunkly, breaking the fourth wall over and over. Drunkly likes to break the fourth wall. Drunkly likes to be meta. This is what I've noticed. So I was watching the first episode, and he wanted to do like the smiley face emoji, and Tyler's like, nope. So I realized after your talk on the Discord last night, Hellblade may be a good game to add to your list. Oh, I'm excited to play Hellblade. I have to figure out, so I don't think it's, my understanding is that it is not available for Mac, so if I want to play it, I have to play it on the PS4. So it will be like a PS4 experience, I think, for all of us, is my understanding. So, Hellblade's up there, and we will... I'm sorry about your sickness, and I think what we'll do is I will look into seeing if setting up my iPad will still allow me to really see the chat well enough to sort of switch to a slightly bigger camera. So, because I mean I'm seeing myself right now, and I look a little far away. I mean I suppose it's okay, but I'm gonna experiment in seeing if. Because here's the thing: if I have my iPad out. Okay, two things about the iPad. That's using the Twitch app, and the Twitch app sometimes, in my experience, stops showing chat, and so I'm a little bit nervous about having the Twitch app up and then maybe not actually, like, having there be some kind of chat glitch. That has been a problem I've noticed in the past. And, so that's my one concern, but I think we can experiment and see how that goes for next time. When you're in the stream, you gotta say, that's all, folks! I made onion cough syrup. Is onion cough syrup good? You know, Ice Bunny, if you are congested, like I don't know if your cold involves congestion at all, but if you're congested, I recommend the medicine that I got in Germany, Gelomyrtol Forte. Gelmyrtol. Gelomyrtol Forte. And like I was able to get it just at like a pharmacy. You can't buy it in these states, but it's really good, and it's homeopathic, and it's like myrrh oil, things like that, and a gel cap. You swallow it, the gel cap dissolves, and all of these like menthol, myrrh, fumes, eucalyptus come up your esophagus, and it clears you right out. Like all that congestion just comes right out. So I recommend it. That also means that at the start of the stream, rawr! I like it. I like it. Oh, and I want the theme, the trumpet fanfare. I think all of that would be really good. Those are my thoughts. So I just thought we would hang out together with the stream, and I know that I'm jumping the gun a little bit on because this is supposed to be for the 250 followers. But like, I trust you all. We're gonna do it. It'll be good. And what's new? Oh yeah, so big camera, that's new. First week of school, super crazy. Hellblade is on my... Hey, Baron Tor, how are you doing? It is good to see you. I'm waving back at you. You can see, but like really small because I'm super tiny. But I wish there was some way to like zoom in or zoom out so you could just have my face even bigger. But that is not possible. We'll see if my brother can send me some. We have way too little meds that we can get without the doc getting involved. Oh, interesting. It's homeopathic and it really helps with congestion. I find ways to buy it through Amazon because I think it's so good, and if I'm ever really congested, that does it for me. So I have to like get it in some kind of wacky way through as Amazon, but I can get it. You know, I mean, it's not the best, but it doesn't have to be a circle. It can be a square, but then if you get the square, you don't get any more of me. You just get random parts of my apartment, which I feel like you don't care about random parts of my apartment. So, Krellin, how are you? You can see me on a couch. And so yes, I made it a square because I thought that was artistically more exciting, and it just cut out parts of the frame that were not interesting to anyone. So, boom. Krellin, this is my 250 follower, Jer's like, no, there's a zoom. You just move it closer. The problem is there's nothing, like, you're also apparently supposed to keep the camera 6 feet away from you. So, you know, I'm just saying. And it's not even actually really 6 feet, I don't think. I mean, maybe it is. I don't think it is. I think it's close enough. Yeah, no, so I mean, like, I could make it a square. I just don't think you would like it. It's just not very interesting if it's a square. I mean, I'm just saying, it's not that interesting. I don't think... Yeah, I'd have to go and change it. But I tried it, and you can also make it like a wide thing, and that wasn't particularly interesting. Yeah, but I think I will at one point in time what I will do is I will try resetting up the iPad with so that I can see chat there, so I can try having a bigger screen for you all. I don't know. I just am a little bit worried because the last time I did it, the Twitch app just stopped running chat, and so I was a little worried. Just a little worried that, you know. Why is your cat being stupid and annoying? Tell your cat to stop that. In case you want to know what we're doing right now, is we're just like we don't have a lot of missions left on our mission board, but I thought that we could just send some people to get some things. Investigating the elven glyphs. What do you think that is? It costs 5. The elven glyphs discovered in the Dales might prove valuable. Cursory inspection suggests they predate the ruins in which they were found, possibly transferred onto the stone from a much older edifice that dates back to the original elven nation, or even earlier. And we can do this with connections. One of the mages, a Dalish elf named Cillian, believes he may be able to translate the glyphs, provided we grant him the needed contacts. Well, let's do that. I don't even know what that means. Oh! Huh. Investigate the elven glyphs. By the way, I'm wearing glasses because the text is really small, sort of far away, and, you know, now you have to wear glasses because I'm young, and young people wear glasses all the time to see things far away. PH, I will, for the next Saturday stream, set up a square to see if that's exciting for you. You don't get a lot. You don't get any more of me. You just get more of these sort of edges out here, out there. So you get to see more of my couch. There's nothing going on, and more of the front door over there, and then more of the kitchen over there. But it's not, you know, it's not that exciting. But if you want me to try it out, PH, let me know, and I will try it out, and then you can see how you feel about it. This just seemed more exciting. I thought, oh, interesting. Yeah, so because I looked at it, right? And here's the other thing, PH. So you know how this, like, right now the camera's pretty small? The camera's pretty small because I have the chat going on right down below. But I figured if you use the full square, I feel like I'm spying through a peephole. I see. Oh, there's a filter that makes it look super spy through a peephole, which sort of made me laugh. So I put on, and basically it felt a little empty. It felt a little empty. Oh, was there? Wait, resub? What? Hey, Remshin, Remshin, how are you? So first off, I cannot see. I cannot see if there's a sub or a resub. So if there's a sub or a resub, you have to tell me who it was. Remshin! So, Remshin, I have to tell you something. It's really important because you just resubbed. So, said, come on, everybody. Let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name, you treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F or an M will appear. And then I say bow at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fan, and foe. And then I say the name again with an F very plain, and a fee, fi, and a mo. And then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. Remshin, bobemshin, banana, fana, fofemshin, fee, fi, momemshin. Remshin! Woo! Resub hype! That was your name game. I hope you enjoyed it. Anyone, sub, resub, you get the name game. Because, I just want to sing the name game. Really, that's it. I just want excuses to sing the name game. Thank you, Remshin. Thank you very much for the resub. Trooper, we are not told. We are, and Trooper, we are not old. Ooh, we are reselected teenagers and glasses add to the smart look. Oh yeah, I like the name game too. I just think it was fun that was a pop hit on the radio in the 60s, which makes me really excited. I need an alt called Schmorange. Recycled. Yes, we are recycled teenagers. Thank you. And glasses add to the smart look. Also, schmorange, baborange, banana, fana, faforange, fee, fi, momorange. Schmorange. Hey, Encantador, how are you doing? Academic September. I'm glad that you liked it, Rimshin. Thank you so much for the resub. I really appreciate it. It is great. All of your resub stuff goes to help me with that camera, and also it's just nice, and it gives me an excuse to sing the name game. So thank you very much, and I'm so glad. Oh, by the way, everyone who was playing Dream Dead with me over the last 6 sessions, y'all are wonderful. You're the best. And Academic September is going well. It was the first week of classes, and it was all meetings all the time. All meetings. It was so many meetings. And today's my long day, right, because it's the second Saturday of the month. So I'm playing with you all, and then after this I'll be playing Call of Cthulhu through Skype with some friends. And then I've got paperwork to do and class prep. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Oh, I've got to add more things to the course websites. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. It'll be great. So right now I think we're getting really close to the end of Dragon Age Inquisition. Relatively speaking. I mean, relatively speaking. We've been here together for over 140 hours. I just don't think we have that much time left. I feel like we are like so close to the end. I mean, I don't know. The area we're at right now seems kind of large, but I think we're getting there. So let's see. Investigate the elven glyphs. It required some gifts to several Dalish clans traveling along the Waking Sea coast, but Cillian was able to get the text he needed to translate the glyphs. He claims that they are kind of a map showing the location to an ancient temple dedicated to Durthamen, the elven god of secrets. He has provided us the location, but it should be noted we're not the first to investigate these glyphs. A group of treasure hunters evidently mentioned them several years ago, though they have not been heard from since, because they're dead. Also, PH might be correct, and that there is no end to Dragon Inquisition. Maybe the game just... Oh, would you like to gather your party and venture to the Lost Temple of Durthamen now? Oh. Gang, do we do it? Do we go to this... Let's go to this Lost Temple. We have to finish our regular thing. Meetings, those are rarely fun. Oh, Call of Cthulhu. Yes, Call of the Cthulhu is great. However, what I want to say is about Call of Cthulhu, Call of Cthulhu can be played a number of different ways, and you never know how... Hey, it's Energy! How are you? Hope you're doing well. If you notice, we have a surprise. Boop! It's the doop, boop, boop, boop. The camera. Meetings with cake. Oh, if we had cake in our meetings, I'd be so much more excited. I would be so much more excited if we had cakes in our meetings. I'm just telling you, yesterday I wanted to get a bunch of work done, but I was meeting all day long.
Someone's been here. I doubt they left all their stuff here out of charity.
Ooh. Alright. So with Call of Cthulhu, there are different ways to do it. There are sort of more... Yeah. There's more than one way to play that game, and the way that we're playing it is very investigative, very sort of thoughtful. We don't all go insane every single week, right? I mean, like, you can play that game in a really harsh way where everybody goes insane immediately and everybody, like, loses characters every week in a kind of a really old-school D&D sort of a way. Or you can play it less that way, and we play it less that way. And I am really having a great time with the game. It's set in 1947 Seattle, and it's right after the war, and we're all in the Seattle area sort of investigating mysteries. Oh, it is super small, It's Energy. It is not just you. There's a whole thing. Jokes on Cthulhu. There is more than one way to play a human. Cthulhu. Interesting. Oh. That's interesting. You should do meetings with educators. We had something unhealthy all the time. Yeah, no. So the Cthulhu in our setting, it is noir, sort of noirish, and sort of we're thinking about a lot of people who, my character's like 18, 19, so he didn't serve in the war, although he was in an internment camp because he's Japanese American. But the characters have all sort of come out of the horrors of the war, and now they're sort of dealing with these sort of cosmic horrors. So it's this sort of really interesting thing about like how do we deal with coming out of the horrors of World War II, and then how do we sort of deal with learning that actually there are even more horrors out there. So it's actually it's a good setting, and it feels like I was like, hey, Seattle, there's like Seattle people, and I'm hanging out in Seattle, but just in the 40s. So, that's exciting. Just a note. Let's see, Explorers in the Temple. Did anyone play Call of Cthulhu Dark Corners of the Earth? Oh, so here's the thing. I actually have that game. Where is it? Call of Cthulhu Dark Corners of the Earth. Boom, I have it right there on my... Oh, you can't see. Right over here, you can't see it. Even if I had a larger... What I really like about the circle is that I can trace the circle, and it feels kind of exciting. Whoop! whoop. Anyway, even if I had a larger area, you could not see because I have a shelf that's behind a sort of cut in the wall. So there's a shelf over there which you cannot see, and you wouldn't be able to see no matter what. But I've got all of my video games on this shelf. It's a bookcase. And right there is Call of Cthulhu: Dark Corners of the Earth, which I have not played yet. And I have it for the original Xbox, but it is backwards compatible. And so I do plan on playing it. I won't be able to stream it though, and so that always to play things I can't stream means I need to have time to play things, and my life is a little bit busy right now, but it is on my list. I really want to play it when I have time. You've never played Call of Cthulhu? Oh, Call of Cthulhu is so interesting. It was one of these sort of really early it came out like in 1979, 1980 maybe, 1980 I think. It was one of these first games that really was not super combat oriented at all. Yeah, like about like 1980. And not only was it not combat oriented as a game, it also was one of the first ones to do like a skill system. Percentile dice. It was sort of attached. You could use this system sort of generically. Circle the academic people. We should all like do. Like I'm a little tickled by this circle. I just want you to know it. Whoop. I can say that I'm not square, right? I'm not square. That was bad. I know it's bad. I don't like... Really? I kind of love Call of Cthulhu's advancement system. I think it's super elegant. Your round camera window is? It's a porthole to the foxhole! Whoop! So Krellin doesn't like the advancement system. I actually sort of love it. Let me tell you what it is for those of you who don't know. So your character's skills are all based on a percentage, right? Sort of a percentile. So maybe your skill is like 37%, and if you want to be successful, you roll, and you want to roll under the skill. We just never had a problem with that. We have like a learning system. So my character wanted to learn lockpicking, and what happened was that he got a teacher to teach him. That person who had the lockpicking skill had to make a lockpicking check, and if they were successful, then I got a check on it for later. So it wasn't actually. I found it not to be that difficult. But anyway, so what happens is that in the course of the game, if you successfully use a skill, then you check it for that session. So like I punch somebody in the face, and so I use brawling or punch, fist I think it is, and you check it off. At the end of the session, any skill that you've successfully used, you roll a percentile dice for, and at this time you want to fail the roll. And if you fail the roll, then you get to add 1d10 skill points. So for example, if you have a really low skill in something, like if you only have 37% in fist, and you're able to successfully use it that session, you can then roll at the end, and most likely you will fail that roll, and so then you will go up between 1 and 10 points in fist. If you are really, really good at a skill, like if you got like a 95 in some skill, it's going to be very difficult for you to actually go up in that skill even more. So like the lower your skill is, the better chance you have of upping that skill if you use it successfully. The higher your skill is, the less of a chance you'll have of upping that skill successfully. So it's all very organic that you sort of increase in the skills that you use. And like that's you don't actually get experience points. You have to succeed and fail. Oh yeah, so I suppose Mouse Guard was then sort of I just don't like the Cthulhu mythos. Yes. Interesting. Baron Tor, let me put it this way. What about the Cthulhu mythos don't you like? Is it the sort of... Yeah. What about the Cthulhu mythos don't you like? That's what I want to know. While you're going to write that down... the small book appears to be a collection of notes, judging by the dates, written over a period of 3 years. They chronicle the search for something called Dirthammond's Wisdom by an Orlesian archivist. Lord Gretton Foe. Clement Cthulhu claims that autodidacts don't exist, since I, as an autodidact... oh no, you can be an autodidact. I mean, most skills have some sort of default, and you can roll on that. You can roll on that default, even if you don't have the skill, and then if you succeed in that roll, then you get to go up in that skill. So I mean, I think that basically almost every single skill in there, you have a default for, with the exception of Cthulhu Mythos. So you certainly can go and do like hang out by yourself, never interact with people, and just try things on your own, and then still get successful skill checks. And if your percentile is super low because you have like a really low, it depends. I mean, you could do it. You could say that you only learn through failure. I mean, there are different ways of thinking about it. I'm not a big fan of occult type leanings, even though I know it's an oxymoron because I like fantasy magic. You can think of it as just as fantasy, but just sort of a different sort of fantasy. I mean, I think that there might be, and I suppose if you think about it that way, that you only learn if you fail. I think the problem with that system is that if you do it that way, then it'll be really easy for players to gain skills in things that it doesn't make any sense for. So, for example, if we were doing a system where you gain the skill and you advance in it if you fail, I could be like, okay, I know nothing whatsoever about surgery. I'm going to take a knife and start stabbing at some people performing surgery, and I'm clearly going to fail because I have no idea what I'm doing. And then all of a sudden, I've got the surgery skill. And that might be a little bit like, I don't know how to fly a plane. I'm just going to like, I don't know. And then like I get points. This is true, and I believe that sort of justification is that in that process you gain some sort of insight. You're successfully able to gain some sort of insight into that skill, and then you're able to get something from it. Now, if you have a really low skill, there are ways to get a bump to that for the roll. So, for example, if you're just trying to do something on default, so you don't have the skill yet, but you're working off of default, and you're going to do something very, very simple, you can get a big yes, basically succeeding is improvement. So if you want to do, like, if you're like, I want to learn how to pick a lock, exactly. I want to learn how to pick a lock. I don't have the skill at all, and I don't have anyone to teach me. I'm going to do it myself. What you would say to the GM is, you'd say, okay, I'm going to read books on lock picking. I'm going to spend hours practicing lock picking, and I'm going to try to practice with like really, really simple locks and learn it on my own. And then what the GM does is, because you're not in the middle of an adventure, that you're doing all this reading, you're doing all this like in a simple lock, the GM is going to give you a big bonus to that roll, and then you're able to make that roll. It's a successful roll, and then you're able to sort of level up. So I mean, it's like there are ways to make that sort of sense of learning on your own workable. But it would be like, if you have no idea how to pick locks and you have no tools and there's a monster chasing you, chances are it won't be so great for you. But if you can find a way to do this right in an actual autodidact way, where you like do all the things to learn on your own, then you'll get the bonus to the roll so that you can succeed that roll, and then you can up that skill, and you sort of just work on that through time. And so I would say that there certainly are ways to do autodidact things, because of the fact that every player has every skill at some level. It may be a really low level, it may only be like 2 or 3, but there is no skill except for Cthulhu Mythos that you can't try. So there is the possibility for any person to improve any skill except for Cthulhu Mythos, which is a special case, which you only get through traumatic brain injury. That's not fair, but you know. It's more or less, that's me being goofy about it. I just look at it as success is the talent experience you've gained through failure manifesting. Statistically, you're going to succeed eventually. Yeah, that's right, Remshin. The elven god of secrets disappeared along with all his kin, or so the legends claim. Yet his priesthood remained behind, and the priest was said to possess the ability to see and know all. I believe this to be the result of magic, and not a divine gift. Magic locked in treasures that remain to this day. With the aid of my companions, I hope to prove it. Brain drama. Actually, yeah, I think that is actually, it's sort of like a futuristic, Pacific Rim futuristic Call of Cthulhu. I believe that's true. I believe I have found the temple of Deta Amen, the resting place for the wisdom, or at least the location of the last high priest who was said to possess it. From all I have gathered, it might be possible to summon this high priest spirit from the ether here in this place. Summoning the dead spirit of a high priest is never a good idea. People, come on. Impossible? Yet Dertamin's rituals will evidently allow it. Perhaps one of the oldest secrets we know or will be revealed to us here. So these investigators had a lot of bad ideas, it looks like. I think what's interesting about the... So first off, like, let's note, I am interested in the... H.P. Lovecraft was racist and xenophobic and had lots of problems, right? So he himself had lots of problems. But I really love what people have... By the way, we just decided to explore this new place because it was on the map and we thought it was interesting. But what I wanted to say was that Lovecraft... Let's energize this, shall we? But people who are not H.P. Lovecraft have done really interesting things with his mythos. And I think there's some really interesting concepts about the mythos that can be quite fruitful and interesting. I think the sort of the idea that there are unknowable things that we can't comprehend. So I mean, because one of the things that is a conceit, right, of Call of Cthulhu is that you could find, I feel like something is hey, underground temple, how are you? Let's examine this. The Lost Temple of Dirthamen. We few whispers here where shadows dwell. Some words remain unuttered. Truths are pushed down, down, where they shall never arise again. If anyone likes Pandemic board game, try Pandemic Reign of Cthulhu version. Really dark and interesting. Yes. I mean, I think it's important to note he was living in the 20s, right?
A spell of comprehension, perhaps. Amazing that it still functions.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, whenever we say, like, well, but I mean, everybody in the 20s was racist, but, like, everybody in the 20s wasn't racist. There are a lot of people who were not. I mean, you had anti-racist activists, you had people of color who weren't racist, you had people who were running around hanging out, loving jazz in the 1920s. I mean, there was, like, you had abolitionists in the 19th century and in the 18th century. So, yes, like, not everybody was racist in the 1920s. Discovered chambers of misery. So with Lovecraft stuff, I think the mythos. Oh, you can love jazz and be racist. This is also, you can certainly. Your slave owning answer was hypocritical. You can't love. Thank you. I honor your spell check. Oh no, and you certainly can be a hypocrite, but I think that it's not. I think to sort of say that everybody back in the day was racist is like, well, first off, there are people who weren't racist, and it sort of puts people, but they were not called out for it like they would be today. Sometimes they were. It depends by who. I mean, if you read some of the works by some of the people in the Harlem Renaissance, or actually even Frederick Douglass, they called people out all the time. They sponsored and supported a society that existed to get escaped slaves back to Africa.
It's as if the altar is waking up.
Oh. We just did something. Oh, there are monsters here. Hey. There are a lot of monsters here now. Just thought y'all might want to know. Monsters everywhere. But I think we killed them.
Part of a ritual, I'd say. Whoever that belongs to, they're not dead. Not really.
Interesting. So there's some strange ritual that we have to deal with. I'm sure it's those treasure hunters who are all messed up. Yeah, no, there are a bunch of people who are sort of who are like, let's bring the black people and send them back to Africa. My slave-owning ancestor was the one who was a founding father. Oh, you have a founding father ancestor? So interesting. I do not have a founding father ancestor. Just side note. At least not that I know of. I doubt it. Doubtful. Doubtful. No, there's a whole sort of like send the black people back to Africa movement. Where did my... so that, you know, and part of that was like, we don't want black people here. But some people were like, yeah, there were like a lot of different motivations. Charles Carroll of Carrollton, senator from Maryland and signatory to the Declaration. What? Krellin? That's crazy. That's crazy. How does, like, what do you think about that? Like, did you ponder that? I mean, that's so interesting. Oh, what is this? Let's light this. I think the U.S. government offered all black people a one-way ticket to Africa. Actually, I don't think they did. I think there were people who were advocating for that, but I don't actually think that happened.
Gate. Wonder what it's made of.
I mean, there's a lot of talk about that sort of a thing, but I don't think that actually happened. We're not actually descended from him. We share a grandfather. Oh, that's so interesting. You know, this place is a little... Let me look at my map for a moment so I can see... So we did all of that. We're going to head here. Alright, so we need to head this way? Is this the way we're heading? I don't know. There is that whole Liberia thing. Yeah, there are a lot of different thoughts and arguments about what to do about the black person problem that people... Oh, I don't... This is what that is. I can't actually go in there because the door's locked. I have... The only thing I have of note in my answers is several Jamestown VA founders. I am a black person, so I don't know my history. Because... yeah, because, right, I mean, I know about my great-grandfather's grandfather. I can sort of going back to Civil War era, I can get that far back, but I can't get much farther back than that because of the way history works. And then what else? Well, and then on my father's side of the family, what is this? Have you thought about... You know, well, of course, that would just get me... tracing my ancestry would get me... Would let me know... Where are we? Sending black slaves back to Africa seems weird to me now, knowing that so many of them were sold by opposing tribes. And then also, like, where would we go? Right? I mean... Okay, but where would we go? Since... Alright, hi, my friends. Where... You should come here. Why are you over there? Come over here. So sending them back to Africa might not end well, but I don't know that others... Oh, well, even at the time, like, because people were talking about this, like, you know, 100 years after, like, where are you gonna go? I mean, it's sort of like saying, like, Krellin, I don't know where your ancestry comes from. Like, I don't know where in Europe your people come from. But let's say they're from the UK. Like, if I just sent you back to the UK right now, like, what would you do? Like, you don't know anybody there. But actually, back to the UK isn't even a good example. It'd be like, well, you're from... Because the UK is a country and Africa is a continent. It'd be like saying, well, oh, sturdy enchanted mail. Interesting. It'd be like saying, oh, let's just send Krellin back to Europe. And, like, I just... Right, you're from the UK, but the thing is that, like, the UK actually is a country where, like, Europe is an entire continent. So I'd be like, well... Krellin, we should send you back to Europe, where you're from, and then I just like drop you off in the Czech Republic somewhere, like, and like you don't speak Czech, and You don't know nobody in Czechoslovakia, or the Czech Republic now, that's what it's called now. Like, I mean, what do you do with that? Like, that's, I don't, like, just drop you off on some continent somewhere that you've never been, and, like, nobody in your living memory's ever been, and you don't speak any of the languages there. That seems super awkward. Explorers in the temple. They came for me tonight, but I won't let them take it. I know someone in Slovenia? Like, Slovenia, maybe? I'll find Dertamin's wisdom on my own. Those traitors want riches for themselves. They won't have a clue how to decipher the remainder of the ritual. Let it be known that I, Lord Gracian Foll, am not to blame for what befalls them. I am not to blame for any of this. I feel like our guy, Lord Gracian Foll, is to blame for everything.
Another one of the explorers?
Oh, he looks really dead. That's his dead body down there, side note. Starletter, how are you? Cross the border and we will welcome you. Thanks! I appreciate that, like, I get some welcoming. And maybe also cheap beer? Like, it's a little unclear. If I actually will get the cheap beer. We are, Starletter, how are you? We decided there was an opportunity to go into a new zone just for fun, and we decided to do it. Welcome in. Hey, Starletter, look, I got a camera. I used someone in the Ukraine, but he moved to Germany. I have ancestors, like my father's family came from the Ukraine. They were Ukrainian Jews who escaped the pogroms in the 19th century, probably the 1890s, I think. Just trying to figure out what I should do today. Oh, also, just side note, and this made my life a little bit difficult in Germany, I don't drink beer. And so everybody was, and it was really terrible. Everyone sort of wouldn't accept that I don't drink beer, or they couldn't really believe it. And so yes, but again, I don't really know any of that history exactly. Thanks, Starletter. Look, new camera. Boop, 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 like, whoop. Camera. Starletter is saying that, sarcastically, PH. Oh, explorers in the temple. A number of notes are scribbled on this scroll, many crossed out or written in terse, angry letters. Reveal their heart, unite it with the flame. Together they will form the key to liberation, advancement. The translation is not clear. I also do not think this brazier is the flame it speaks of. Brazier. Well, that's... What are they doing? I think we're going to, light this... Take the Tongue of Whispers. Okay. That seems... And monsters. Monsters. Oh! What's on the t-shirt? This is the undented, unbowed, unbroken t-shirt for Random Tuesday. It's the Random Tuesday t-shirt that was made by Frithiel. I'm... You know what? Fine, Starletter. I thought that we had a thing. I thought that we'd, like, run off together and live happily ever after, but apparently it is not to be. I don't think I can... somehow I will live somehow. Somehow. I don't even know how. Choose Hype! Lauren Hype! So I was wearing my Lauren shirt for today because I like it. I know, I'm still... the thing is, Starletter, I'm going to have to figure out if I can get a solution to chat. I mean, I love having chat right there on the screen so I can see it. Ooh, it's the mug! Oh, somebody should tell Twos that the mug was actually used, because it was used. I don't want to be a heartbreaker. Isn't that like a song by Pat Benatar? You're a heartbreaker, dream taker, something, something, don't you mess around with me. I mean, I feel like, is that Pat Benatar? Or is that Linda Ronstadt? Pat Benatar? You'll let me know. The lost temple of Dertamen. Dertamen is gone, he said. Our highest one brings to us this gravest news. What shall we do? Where shall we go? What of the old secrets that burn within our hearts? I'm a little paranoid that I'm going to miss things that I have to explore in order to solve this mystery. Thank you, Krellin. See, I knew that Krellin would have my back there. Be a heart fixer. Heart fixer. Cement mixer. I don't think that song works as heart fixer, but you know, we can try. So we've gone up there, so let's head to our left. This way. Pat Benatar's pretty great, folks. I really like Pat Benatar. I wonder what Pat Benatar is up to now. I think we've been this way already, so that's that. So now we're going to keep going down this way to see if... Oh, we discovered the sanctuary. Let's light this. I always see water like this in games and remember all the times I've stood in knee-deep water in leather boots. Oh, yeah. And then those boots get squishy and gross, and you just want to get out of the water, and you really hope that you have a fresh pair of socks in your rucksack, because nobody wants, like, foot rot. All of the...
And the torch goes out.
Oh.
Of course it does.
Huh. No, I don't think fix means the same as unbreak. I think that if your heart is fixed... Can I ask your thoughts on Hope Punk? I have no thoughts on Hope Punk. It's, I mean, well, okay, that's actually not true. I just told you that I had no thoughts on Hope Punk, but I just lied to you. I did not mean to lie to you, but I did lie to you. But I suppose I have thoughts on Hope Punk. I had a 20-mile hump with a 30-pound pack and wet boots. Oh, yeah. So that's the thing. When you have, like, amazing blisters, where, like, your entire foot is a blister, it's not great. It's not great. I feel like unbreaking a heart means that the heart never was broken in the first place, because it, right, is unbroken, and so then there's no... I feel like an unbroken... Like, if you unbreak someone's heart, there is no scar tissue. So I feel like Tony Braxton wants to unbreak your heart with no scar tissue. But, Oh, so bad, Barantor. But I think fixing a heart means patching it so the scar tissue is still there, but then it now functions again. So the question becomes, do you want an unbroken heart or do you want a fixed heart? And I feel like maybe those battle scars makes you stronger, better, gives you more experience, and so you don't make those mistakes again. But I think if your heart becomes unbroken, then maybe you don't get the wisdom that you learned from having that broken heart, and then you walk into that same messed up situation again. I'm just thinking about it, but I don't know the answer to it. But that's my current sort of impulse, thinking about the difference between a heart fixer and a heart unbreaker. Say you love her again, undo the hurt you caused. Oh my gosh. Krellin. You know, when you hear those lines, right? When you hear Tony Braxton singing that, right? Say you love me again, unbreak my heart. I just feel like that's like a really bad idea. Like, yes, I just feel like if somebody breaks your heart, there's probably a reason why that happened, and maybe that person is not the right person for you. And when you say, unbreak my heart, say you love me again, take me back once more, and we can go back, I was like, oh, no, that's a bad idea, because, I mean, okay, so what happened? So the person says, oh, sure, I totally take it back. I didn't do all those things that mess you up. Come back to me, and then they're going to mess you up again. Don't do it. Don't take the unbreak the heart option. Take the fixing the heart option. Charity bits for the brokenhearted. Tier 20. Oh, yes. I don't care what Lord Grittown claims. There were voices last night, whispering to us in our sleep. It's not silly fears. It is this place. It is worth finding this Is it worth finding this artifact he hunts if it attracts spirits to us as we search? And how do the spirits know our names? They knew personal things, events I would rather forget. I would leave if it did not mean foregoing my entire pay after months of work. Ooh. But I want to get back to the question that was asked about Hope Punk and my thoughts about it. So I have... only one thought. Never go back. Never go back. And just random related thought, is breaking and unfixing... See, yeah, Oh. Is breaking and unfixing mean the same? Oh. I think unbreak my heart is a genuine expression of the pain caused by the breakup, even if its literal interpretation would not be a healthy ending. No, I think that's true. Like, I mean, when you hear that singing, like of course you're like, oh, yeah, like I know those feelings, and like I think that is this expression of pain, and certainly it's like an honest expression of pain. But I will tell you what, I don't know about you all. Maybe I don't know about you all. I have been in that situation. I have been in that unbreak my heart situation where I have been heartbroken and I really want the person to take me back again, and I want to, go back. But here's the thing. It was not a good idea. I did not know it at the time because I was heartbroken and I was still in love, right? Like, when people break up with you in a messed up way, they're over the relationship. You are not over the relationship. You've not processed it. And I was like, why can't we go back? Da-da-da. And, like, I had all of those feelings. But I'll tell you from, like, looking back on it, it was a good thing. Because actually, I've also been in those situations where then they take you back and then they mess with you again. Don't do it. Heartbreak is the worst. Right, exactly. You can't think straight at all. And you make some super poor decisions. Poor decisions. Poor decisions. Maybe none of y'all have made some poor decisions. I have made some poor decisions. Never go back. Always forward to the new, even with the same person. The lost temple of Dirthaven. The highest one, he deceived us. The honeyed words that drip from his tongue. We know the despair they mask. We disciples of Dirthamen know truth, now as ever. Ooh, so the high priest of Dirthamen did some sort of lie? Maybe? Also, by the way, there's a lot of stuff in this temple. This temple's a little labyrinthine, and I want to make sure I don't miss anything. Because I'm afraid that I will miss something. Oh, what is this? There's a thing we can pull. Yeah, what is all of this? Did we pull this already? What do you think that did? I don't know. But what if that person has a cute butt? Oh, well, if the person has a cute butt, I think all bets are off, right? I think then you just... So here's the thing, folks. This is a really big area, and there are secret things hidden on the walls, and I'm super afraid that we're going to miss a thing on the wall. And I don't know what to do about that. Alright, so this is the sanctuary. We walked in here. We're going to go back in. Free hugs to... free hugs to... We're going to follow the left wall, is what we're going to do. At that point... At that point, you have to go back. So we're doing that thing, right, from the movies, where you just follow the left wall. And, well, that's interesting. Cute butts can forgive a lot of sins. You have to watch out for cute butts, though. Alright, so look, we have missed this thing. There's a thing for us up here, and we've clearly missed it. And also, I lost my torch, which makes me sad. We'll have to find... Oh, the Chamber of Torment. Well, that doesn't sound good. Also, left wall trick always works, right? We need Veilfire. We need to get our Veilfire on. So go for it. If you think it's what you need at the moment, more XP always leads to level up. More XP, level up. We need to get some Veilfire, people. Crypts of the Forgotten. Yeah, we need Veilfire. Here we go. Nope. Gang. We need Veilfire. Priest needs Veilfire badly.
Poor bastard.
Ooh. Explorers in the temple. This human man was a warrior, dead for perhaps a few months. His skin is dried and stretched over his bones. From what you can tell of the corpse, he was stabbed in the back. An expression of terror remains locked in the rictus of the dead man's face. Alright, time to go hit up like 3 of my exes and try to make it work. Wait. Starletter, before you hit up all of your exes, don't do it! Don't do it! Go back the other way. Yeah, I think that's right. So we're going to try to get... we need to get into that torture chamber, and we need to get some veil fire. Sadly, we cannot light it from here, but I think we might be able to get veil fire. This is a new area. We need veil fire. I have only one X I wouldn't mind having a conversation with. Will you do this in a parallel or what after another? Need a plan. There's some drunk talk. I actually, what is this? Folks, we need to find our veil fire. Jared's right. I remember that gimmick. Need to find an alternate route. All at the same time, that seems like the best ever. I would say, for the most part, I have a really good relationship with all of my exes. Not all of them. For like the vast majority of my exes, I have a good relationship with, and I've had pretty much good breakups with most of my exes. But the fact that I have good relationships with most of my exes is complicated. So I think we need to go back. We need to go kind of far back to get this veil fire. I think we need to go back this way in order to get a veil fire space. Stupid veil fire. Alright, let's see what we have. No veil fire there. Let's see. I have actually never had a relationship. Well, now it's all still new to me. Oh, well, congratulations on having a relationship that's good and that you're enjoying. That's awesome. I would say that one of the reasons why. So I think. Oh, look, there's a Veilfire brazier all the way down here. All right, that's fine. We will just pick it up. So what I would say is, I've had a lot of good breakups, and many of them are because we broke up not because there was anything wrong with the relationship, but because I was leaving the country. That's what happens when you're in the army, or let's say, sorry, I say army, but I meant military in general. Right, I am not Baron Tor, no disrespect, I meant, and also Sal, right, for all my military folks. When I say, when I say what I said, I meant military in general, not only the army. Pardon me. Not to be rude. But I think this is the one we can't go through, so I think we're going to go through this other one. Baron Tor, you're back. I was just saying that, like, we're talking about, oh, that's really good. I'm really excited about that. It's not you with this country, right? I mean, you know, when you're in a relationship with somebody and then you're going to leave the continent for a while, that can, you know, put a damper on that relationship. Right now, by the way, we're going to sort of do right wall because I want to make sure that we hit everything. Right, we've been here. I think that's good. Here's some veil fire. This is the Chamber of Torment. So that's great. Well, it's not great because it's a Chamber of Torment. I didn't get married while I was in the military for a reason. Oh yeah, Baron Tor, because, and was the reason that you didn't get married while you're in the military because you're smart? I mean, yeah, I will tell you. But you know Baron Tor. So yeah, mostly it was like, you know, with that kind of trickiness of being in the military, leaving the country, and then I stayed in Germany for a while, and then I left Germany, and then I did undergraduate in one place, and then I moved to graduate school in another place, and like if you move around a lot, it's
one
sort
of the passages back in the ritual area, perhaps.
It makes it a little bit difficult. It makes it tricky. So let's see. The idea of marrying or even a relationship is super far in the future. Way too busy these days to be in one. That's fair. You know what? I don't even judge. Let us make it out of here. Although I really feel like, didn't we see I feel like we passed by a thing on the wall. Oh, there it is. See, I knew we did. I knew we had a thing we had to pass by. Here we go. The Lost Temple of Dirtamen. The highest one promises safety. I shall protect our ancient secrets. He claims that all Dirtamen once granted us will be safe. But it is our blood he seeks, a sacrifice dark and unholy, a prison of evil to keep us in, and all else out. That sounds really bad, everyone. So it looks like there was the High Priest of Dirtamen sort of went not good. This water falling from the top looks like it will extinguish my Veilfire, so we're going to go around the other way. I've been married 15 years! Oh, that's great! I'm glad I did it, but it isn't for everyone, and definitely not at the age we did it. Everyone has their own pace. I mean, I will tell you, and Barentor knows this, and most of my relationships, I'm so sorry about that you had sham relationships. That's terrible. Sal also knows what I'm about to say. Sal will know because Sal was in the military, and Barentor will know because Barentor was in the military. But, I was in the military. I saw a lot of people go into basic training. I put my cat under a blanket, and now he stopped being stupid and annoying. Then that seems like you made the right choice. So, join the military, right? You're 18. Let's light this. See if we can open this. We can. We'll do the left-hand trick.
This is where the key leads.
And, yeah, I'm only 20, working full-time and going to school. Oh, right, now my mind is getting... Oh, yeah. Yeah, that sounds like a really good idea. So, like, when I was in the military, it was before I understood the whole gray A spectrum, so I was... Oh, that's a bummer. That's a bummer, Jer. But I'm glad that you understand, like, that you've sort of come to understand and embrace your sexuality now, so you can have relationships that are going to be good for you. And, I just think that's so important. Oh, the Veilfire went out. That's no good. They said, see the world, they said, I'd rather be sailing. My older siblings' marriages have all, except for one, gone well so far, despite most of them getting married. See, what does really, by the way, we just lost our Veilfire, and that's the worst. I wonder if we can find a new Veilfire spot, or whether or not we're going to have to go all the way back out again, because this seems like a complicated situation. What I was going to tell you is, so, right, you join the military. Yeah, folks, I think we've got to go all the way back out again. So it looks like this whole place is a bunch of shenanigans. Quest map. What is this? Oh no, there's a Veilfire brazier right there. Also an ancient door. So we can turn back around this way. Pirate life. So join the army. Everybody goes to the basic training. And they're 18. And what happens? They get out of basic training, go to AIT, and the first thing they do is marry somebody. Right? They get married at 18. I knew so many people in the army. They all got married at 18. Then they have kids almost immediately. And please note, they get married to people they don't know very well. Right? And it's all the same reason. They meet the person at AIT. Right? And AIT is a couple of months. And they sort of fall in love with this person, and they're in the midst of that sort of exciting, intense love moment. Do you know what I mean? Like where you're still in the sort of the honeymoon phase, and then one of them is going to have to leave to go be stationed somewhere else, and they don't want to leave and be stationed somewhere else. And the best way that you can ensure that you and the other person will stay together is if you get married. So they get married to someone they've known for like 3 months maybe. They may not even know their middle name. There are a bunch of fundamental questions they have not asked each other. Like, what do you want to do? Do you want to stay in the military? Do you want to get out of the military? Back for me, it is a bit odd that you can choose military or not. You know it's love unless you can be bored together. That's what my oldest brother did. Luckily, they're still together after it was... Oh, so that's good. Most of the people I knew, they all got divorced about 2 years into the relationship. Like, almost every single one of them. Get married at 18, divorced by 20. Rough times, my friend. Not ideal. Not ideal. I would like to have loot. Yeah, and I remember... So this is like army story time, right? I was 21, and where's my Veilfire, everyone? I think I must have dropped it. Oh, man. Stupid Veilfire. Gotta go back out. There's no such line in that shanty. Love story times. Okay, so here I was in the army, and it was, I was 21, and I was a sergeant. I made my E5 in 3 years, and so, like, I was hardcore. I was doing my business. And so I was 21, and I was a sergeant, and I was the only... Oh, look at this. I bet that water falling from the ceiling will extinguish our Veilfire. I've only seen bad relationships and marriages, so relationships are a thing I've... Oh, I've seen lots of good relationships. Yeah, no, it was... I was super hardcore, Baron Tor. Like, I was on top of things. I worked really, really hard in the army, and it's kind of complicated, like, for complicated reasons. But part of what I had to do was I figured if I was really, really good at my job, if I was really, really good, then they wouldn't put me in prison for being queer. So it was like, you know, I was just hoping that, like, massive excellence would sort of keep me safe. So, like the army made me workaholic. It's great. But so there I was, 21, the only NCO unmarried, and I remember I was like somewhere. I wasn't anywhere in particular. I was just somewhere, you know, in the barracks, and 2 soldiers came up to me, and they were very concerned for me. They were like a specialist, whatever it was, like a, you know, E4, E3. Tyler responded to our criticism. Criticism about what? Tyler responded to our criticism about what? Oh, yeah, I got all the crap duty. I got all the crap duty all the time. It was terrible. And these 2 soldiers, they walk up to me and they're like, Pennington, we want to talk to you. And I was like, what's up? And they're like, you know, you're not married. An NCO is a non-commissioned officer, so like sergeants and above. And they're like, so, you know, what do you know, you're not married. And I was like, yeah? And they're like, yeah, but you're 21 years old. And I said, yeah? And they're like, right. You know, if you don't get married now, you're going to be old and alone forever. And, oh, the chaos being a bit high last night. Oh. And I remember they were so worried about me being 21 and not married, because for them, being 21 and unmarried was meant that I was, like, so old and almost over the hill. Like if I didn't get married immediately, I'd be, like, ruined for my life. And I just said, well, where I'm from, no one gets married really at 21. Like, everybody's getting married later where I'm from, so I think it'll be fine. But they were very worried about my well-being. They really thought that 21 was so ancient, especially not to be married. And I just, like, I was like, no, it'll be fine, it's okay. But it just was this moment where I was just thinking about the fact that they came from places where everybody did get married at 18, and I came from a place where people did not get married at 18 for the most part. And it was just sort of this interesting moment of, like, seeing a big cultural difference. And I could see that it was a cultural difference, and I was like, oh, okay. But they couldn't see it, and they were just really convinced that, that, like, my life was basically over because I wasn't married yet. And that was just interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Although one of the people who was telling me that was the person who didn't know that she was pregnant until she gave birth. I know! You Garlic, I know! I know! I am with all of you there, right? It's still not even really legal for you to buy alcohol, just. I know. That's just that's right. There you go. But that one of those soldiers was a woman who didn't know she was pregnant until she gave birth. She had no idea that she was pregnant. Was she big? She was. I mean, she was gaining weight. She was in the she was in the process of being processed out of the army for being over fat. Like, she had done her first, like, every 6 months you have to take a PT test, and part of the physical fitness test is also getting your height and weight done. And if you're overweight, they test you to see if you're over fat, and if you're over fat and overweight, then you have 6 months to get back in shape. And at the end of those 6 months, if you're not, then they kick you out of the military. And she failed her first weight test and then, so she was working really hard to try to lose that weight in that 6-month time period, but she just kept gaining more weight, and she was trying so hard, while also still drinking and smoking a lot because she was super young and in the army. And in her second tape test, she did not understand her body, right? Anyway, so in the second, she 6 months later, she went and got her weigh in again, and she was still overweight and over fat, and so she was in the process of being processed out of the military. She hadn't been processed yet, and she started having some like pains in her stomach. It's true, and she was getting heavier, but it didn't look pregnant. It just looked like she was getting heavier, right? And then she started having these pains, and so she went to the doctor. She was like, I don't know, maybe I have an appendicitis or something. She went to the doctor, and boom, she gave birth. And then she wasn't processed out of the military anymore. And when I knew her, she was like a single mom who was 19, and yeah. Yep. The lost temple of Durtamen. They will come for us in the night, those who would steal the words from our lips, and our God no longer rises to our defense. We claw at the walls, Now we pray for a dawn that will never arrive. Whatever happened in here was not a good scene, my friends. It's not a good scene. It was bad. Wasn't processed out because there are different standards for pregnant women and mothers. Oh, she wasn't processed out. Yeah, right, because there's a different, different standard for mothers, no. Different standards for pregnant women, yes. Like, if you're pregnant, you are going to be heavier, right, than if you are not pregnant. So when you are pregnant, they don't hold you to the standards of being non-pregnant in terms of weight, because clearly that's going to happen. But since she was pregnant, and then she gave birth, and then she, yeah. So, I mean, once you give birth, then you have to lose the pregnancy weight, but you have a certain amount of time to lose that. Oh, we have to find remains. So, but you have a certain amount of time to lose the pregnancy weight, and then she did, right? So she lost the pregnancy weight in the amount of time allotted. Exactly. See, Baron Torres got me. Yeah, so then she of course she got rid of the weight after pregnancy, and so she was fine. But so folks, I'm trying to figure out where all, like, there's a lot of stuff in here, and we want to find all of these bodies. So let's see what we can do here. Oh, here we go. Take the ears of unheeding. Oh, you gotta go. Thanks for the stream. It was fun. Oh, thanks. Oh, thank you for the pipe. Thank you, Encantador. And I will see you around soon. It was good to have you here. It is always good to have you here. Oh, there's a big one that we need to kill. There's a lot of murder going on right now, and like a lot of murder, and that is not good. We are going to have to 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000. I think we're good. Okay, that was a little intense. Oh, good. See you, Battle Buddy. And I will see you on the Twitch, on the Discord, and also maybe on Thursday, because that will be awesome. Okay, I think if we put our Veil file down in the water, or go underneath water, I think that it goes out. So this is an experiment. I think if we go through here, we might extinguish our Veil fire. So let's see. Yep, there you go. Did you see it? We just learned something. Going through waterfalls will extinguish our Veil fire, and that is awkward. Well, okay. We're gonna have to try to go around then. Just body parts. I mean, who doesn't like body parts? Especially random body parts. I think that's great. let's try to walk. So I see we've learned something here. There's a bit of an environmental puzzle in that we need to explore this whole area with Veilfire, but going through certain parts of the area will extinguish the Veilfire. So, one more finger and I'll have a whole set. Oh, let's be careful here. Right? Alright, I feel like we are getting a hang of things. Alright, so this here is the place that we were just trying to go through. Look at this, my friends. Little bit of a puzzle. I usually enjoy body parts when they're still attached. Yeah, I like my body parts attached, generally speaking. The Lost Temple of Dirtamen, or Dirthamen? I don't know how they're pronouncing it. His mind, which cannot think. His tongue, which cannot speak. His hands, which cannot touch. His ears, which cannot hear. His eyes, which cannot see. And thus shall our highest one be bound. He shall join us in our silence. I feel like what's happening is that we are making some poor choices. I think that we are, how do you say, reanimating a creepy dude in an unwise way. I think that's what we're doing. And, Dirt Ha Men! Thank you, Krillin. Krillin, being an expert in the ancient Elven tongue, the ancient Dalish tongue, knows exactly how it's pronounced, and that is how it's pronounced. Which I appreciate. Poor choices, us? Never. No. We never make... I just... am I in school? No, I'm a professor. I teach. I am a professor of music history. So that is what I do. I'm like a, I'm a nerdy professor. So am I in school? Well, I work at a school, but let's activate this, shall we? I know that activating those things is a good thing, but I don't know what in the end it will give us. So, am I in school? I am at a school. Remember those graves we robbed? Good times. More poor choices. I just feel like our life is full of poor choices. Poor choices of... I was going to say raving grobs, but I meant robbing graves. But I feel like raving grobs is kind of exciting. That feels like you go to a rave and... this was the first week of classes. All of my classes started on Wednesday. Classes technically started on Tuesday, but I don't teach Tuesday classes. So everything started up for me on Wednesday, and it was a long day. Because I have a seminar at 9 in the morning, and also I think we're good in this area, right? I think we can move through here. So, wait, hold on. There's a way that I want to go, but I want to make sure we've gone the right direction. So we need to head south. This way. Where did... Veilfire? I just lost some Veilfire. That's okay. We'll just be you, and you will have the Veilfire. So I don't teach Tuesday. I need to head south still. Is where I'm trying to go. So Wednesday seminar at 9 in the morning, and then so we've been in this area. Let's look. Where are we at? No, I want to head north and then west a little bit because I want to go in here. Well, it was actually it was. I would say no. The first week, for me, it's the week before the first week of class that's harsh and rough because Iron Bull totally has the boo-boos. I'm worried about him because in the week before the first week, I have to get everything ready and make sure. All right, we have everything here. So that's fine. There's this little passageway here that I want to get to. Let's see if we can make it. And I think, alright, we just keep going. And then that should be this wall. We head up. We go through here, and I think that should do it, right? Yes. Right. But you know what? I don't teach children, I'm teaching adults. And there we go. Here we are. So I have a 9 o'clock class, and then I've got office hours, and I have an afternoon class, and I've got more office hours, and then I had a film screening. So I worked from like 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night. It was a long day. You know, try being 22 and committing a crime and trying to sort of say that you're just a child, so you should not be prosecuted as an adult. I wake up at 6 for work, and my little brother's awake and gone before I wake up. Shouldn't work that way. Yeah, we're all kids forever. The lost temple of dirt, ha, men! We will not have it. We will not have it. The secrets are madness in our ears, but they are ours. The highest one cannot take them from us. Only dirt, ha, men! Our keeper. Only he. And if he does not take the secrets, they are ours forever. You know, I don't know all what was happening in this situation, but it does not look good. I still never answered the question, by the way, about Hope Punk. Please note, PH, I did not forget that question. I will come back to it, and I'm coming back to it right now. That depends on the social prognosis if you get processed. Oh, not in the United States, Ice Bunny. In the United States, we like to prosecute people as adults, even if they're 14. If you commit a murder or a rape and you are not a rich person, it is very, you know, Krellin, you enlightened me on the correct pronunciation, and I want to honor that correct pronunciation. Come on, come on. You know, if you are not rich, you will, you getting tried as an adult is very, very likely. That is what I'll tell you, because that is how the Chamber of Despondency, people here are like not happy peoples. So about the question about what my thoughts are on Hope Punk. So I feel like it's the Temple of Doom, the Temple of like bad feelings. So about Hope Punk, this is what I will tell you in terms of feelings. The term punk comes from a place, right? It had a meaning, right? It comes originally from cyberpunk, and I think I can tell you. Don't go anywhere. Hold on 1 second. Wait, let me save. Save. Oh, I didn't want a new save game. Bummer. Hold on. Don't go anywhere. Wait a second. Wait 1 second. Don't go anywhere. Oop, 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 oop. Clockwork. Clockwork Dominion. C-A-C-H-C-A. Clockwork Dominion. Okay. I think I have it. So, what? Oop. I'm back. So don't go anywhere. No, punk existed before cyberpunk, but the term punk as in cyberpunk actually has a meaning, right? They didn't just attach punk to cyberpunk for no reason. Just like always. No, so the point is, like, in terms of stylistic genre, punk has it has a meaning. It's not an empty signifier. Let me see. Hold on. Steampunk. Wait. So this, by the way, is a book. You can't really see it very well. It's Clockwork Dominion. It's an RPG that's written in part by a friend of mine, who's pretty awesome. And this is the game that that I was asked to GM for during. Oh yeah, no. Well, hold on, Ice Bunny. Punk actually starts in the U.S., but. Right, if you think about proto-punk and early punk, that's happening in the U.S., and Malcolm McLaren, who is really sort of, is the manager for the Sex Pistols. He actually was earlier manager for the New York Dolls. I'm just trying to point out that like it's not just not UK. Didn't start there. Okay, so let me see if I can get this for you. Okay, are you ready? Okay, so this is just, I quite enjoyed this, right? So this game is sort of like a gothic, sort of steampunk, so steampunk role-playing in a Victorian world of gothic horror. And, people do it all the time. Don't even worry about it. People do it all the time. So in this book, they sort of define steampunk, and I think that it's not a very long definition, but it's really interesting because it sort of talks about what the word punk is doing. And this is about the question about what do I think about the term hope punk, right? So, okay. So, steampunk. I need to take off my glasses if I'm going to read this. At its most basic, steampunk has two elements, steam and punk. Steam speaks to Victorian world of speculative fiction where advanced technology appears or historical technologies are put into new and more extreme usages. Punk, and this is important, punk brings a focus on unjust social systems and those people who fight against them or step outside their rules. This is similar to all of the punk genres, including cyberpunk and dieselpunk, which highlight anachronistic technology and the human condition in the respective eras. Where cyberpunk focuses on supercomputers used by powerful and unjust megacorporations, and dieselpunk focuses on over-engineered mechanical marvels juxtaposed with noir crime and poverty, steampunk focuses on the wonders and opportunities of technology like steam engines, electricity, and magnetism, and how technology offers change in a world of rigid class structures that keep the high-born wealthy and the low-born disenfranchised. The tension between the disruptive potential of new technologies and the aesthetics and culture of high society lies at the heart of the genre. And then it talks more about, I'll finish this paragraph for you. Capturing the feel of steampunk involves more than just including clockwork automatons and noblemen in your story. There is an aesthetic to the steampunk genre that can be difficult to put into words. Visually, it involves stylized Victorian elements including fine clothing, top hats, and sword canes. Socially, it both embraces and criticizes aristocratic hierarchy. Viscerally, it involves a certain degree of hope. Unlike the cyberpunk genre that warns of the dangers of advanced technology, steampunk embraces a retrospective hope that advanced technology could have made the world better, a more exciting place. New inventions and new science could have brought about an age of achievement that maintained and spread the best ideals of high society. Steampunk invites us to imagine a world that could have been and revel in it, including high adventure, fantastic technology, and yes, a good pair of goggles now and then. So, I did not get to see the post. Oh no, so Hope Punk does double duty because the Hope and the Punk both. No, the Hope and the Punk both don't. So I've never heard punk assessed before. That sounds really accurate. Yeah, no, it's a really great punk. Even in a music sense, is about anti-establishment, right? It's about this, right? Yes, right. This is great because the thing about the punk part of the punk, which is, and when you talk about steampunk or cyberpunk, it is going back to like the punk movement. It's about social inequality. It's about disenfranchisement. It's about these sort of structures, right? So the punk part doesn't have hope in it, right? So hope and punk don't mean the same thing because the punk part itself is about the inequality and it's about sort of the problems with establishments. It's about right, that sort of thing. Steampunk as a genre, using the word steam, the steam part is the hope part, right? It's about the hope that the people in the Victorian era had that technology might make the world a better place. Well, see, that's really interesting. I imagine you could this is interesting. I think that one could probably make the argument that the players don't have to be underclass to. I love so. First week of class was great because I got to lecture and do stuff, and it was really, really great. And I have great students, and I really enjoyed it. So I think that Krellin, that you could do a cyberpunk game if the players were corporate people, but I think for it to be cyberpunk, it still has to have the punk in it, right? Well, but see, the thing is, in cyberpunk, you may not be fighting inequality. what the players are doing doesn't, because cyberpunk is not a hopeful genre. Steampunk is, because it's about the relationship to technology, right? So in cyberpunk, the relationship to technology. No, not all punk is hope. No, not at all. Hope that no, nope. I would totally disagree, because in the cyberpunk genre, I mean, you can do it differently, but in classic cyberpunk, there actually isn't hope at all. There's no hope that you can affect change, that you can make things better. You're just trying to sort of survive in what is a horrible, messed up situation. But there's no hope that you can make it better, because cyberpunk was sort of really a late 70s, early 80s, mid to late 70s, and then the 80s genre that was just really cynical and not at all hopeful. It's dystopian, right? And it's about this sort of idea that actually, no, it just sucks, right? We've destroyed the environment. It's not good. Exactly, right? The fight is futile, the struggle is useless. Like, yes, right, Krellin? Cyberpunk is dystopian, and that's about the way that people were seeing technology in that moment. I mean, you have to remember, in the 80s, we all thought we were going to die from a nuclear war, and it was really just no way out of it. And so it's not, the punk doesn't equal hope. Punk is about dealing with social inequalities and disparities and these sort of gaps between high and low. Now, whether or not you have hope about that or not deals with what is the other relationship. Cyberpunk is not a particularly hopeful thing, but steampunk does have hope in it, because the relationship the 19th century had to technology at that moment was that they felt into the 19th century that technology might actually lead to overcoming social inequality, right? There was a hopefulness. The relationship to that technology was hopeful, whereas it was not in the 80s. So punk is just the feeling of disenfranchisement, not necessarily the urge to fight the establishment. Yeah. And so maybe that means I'm also hope punk because I like my PCs to affect change. But here's my question, though, right? But here's my question about the term hope punk. Is the term hope punk actually hope punk? Like, what do you mean by hope punk? So when you ask me what do I think about this genre, I can't necessarily answer that because I don't know what they mean by the genre. I don't know, for example, if the word punk actually talks about social inequality, social structures, or whether they just mean it to me like, punk, cool. Like, I don't know if they're using the word punk to mean cool. Like, because if they're just using the word punk to mean cool, then it isn't punk, right? I mean, that's what I would. Right. It doesn't mean you get to win, but also, I mean, Krellin, I would say I think that you could be corporate people and have it still be. Well, exactly, because I don't know how they're meaning the term. Where steampunk creates equality through technology, so technology highlights that. Yes, right, exactly, Jared. That's exactly right. Right, and a lot of punk's about fighting even though you're going to lose. Yeah, and so I think that when they say hope punk, I don't know what they mean by that. Right, like I don't know what kind of technology they're dealing with. I don't know if they're actually using punk to mean sort of an interest in inequality and disparity. So I don't know, when somebody says I'm hope punk, I don't know how they're using that term. I don't know if they're using the term punk in the way that is actually understood, if they're just using it because it's a cool term, right? You know how, like, for example, sometimes if the word punk has now value, you might take it and decontextualize it and take it out of its meaning, and then just say like, ooh, I'm punk, right? Yeah. So I would just say, here's a thought that I was thinking, Krellin. I think that you could do a cyberpunk game where you are corporate members and it still be cyberpunk. It would just be a game where you would be the bad guys, right? Like you would be sort of dealing with all this sort of, well, asterisks, maybe, like we can sort of think about that. Yeah, actually I think you could think of White Wolf as being fantasy punk. I think I think that you could think about that. I think that would work. Or urban fantasy punk, maybe. We'd have to sort of like ponder, but I think you could make that case. So I think that if you were corporate people, but the game itself still highlighted the disparities and the inequalities and the sort of unjustness of those systems, I think it would still work. Now the question is, so you're corporate people, if you played Cyberpunk in a way in which you were corporate people and your lives were great and you never thought about social inequality and the underclass at all, and the underclass did not exist in that game, then I don't think that would be Cyberpunk at all. That would not be Cyberpunk, that'd be something different. But if you're playing a game where you actually do get that social inequality and you get all of that sort of like that nest that's in cyberpunk, and your court people, but you have to deal with that, then I think you could do a cyberpunk game. But then you'd have to really think about like what kind of game is that going to be? Is this a story of people who are corporate people who are unhappy with being corporate people? Are you low-level corporate people? Are you high-level corporate people? Are you trying to sort of like work against the system from the inside and then maybe being corrupted and lost by it? Are you just villains who propagate sort of this inequality? It's a good question, Jer. Oh, thanks. So the thing is, I've got to figure out whether or not they're just using... Because here's the thing. Cyberpunk, dieselpunk, steampunk are actually using the word punk all in the same way. It does have a meaning they're using it. I don't know about hope punk was this just them being like, oh, I'm sort of upbeat, so hope punk, and then just using the word punk in a way that has no connection to what the word means. So I don't actually know what the genre conventions and tropes are. See, the thing is, I got the sense, I saw the tweet, and I got the sense that it's not actually a genre at all. It's just that some people who are like, wait, I'm not cynical, so I want a term to describe me not being cynical, hope punk, because we use the word punk for everything. So I don't know if it actually is a genre at all, or if it's somebody saying that they're just not cynical. And then I don't know if that's like, what are you doing? Do you know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, I don't know. I don't know, because I don't even know if it actually is a genre with conventions and tropes, or if it's just somebody saying, I'm not a downer. So, like, I don't actually know yet if this is a, you know... I mean, if all it is saying is that all you are is you're saying that I don't like dystopias, then I don't know if that's actually a genre. Do you know what I mean? Because when somebody says, I found the thing that I am, and I am hope punk, that doesn't sound like we're talking about a genre. That sounds like we're talking about a stance, right? That we are talking about, like, I like upbeat stories. And I don't think I like upbeat stories. I have questions about that. People use terms in different ways. If you say, like, what I like is hope punk, is that a genre or is that a stance? Right? This is the question. Is it a genre or a stance? That's a question, right? I mean, if you... So if it's a genre, like, what's the time period? Like, what is it? Right? What is it? And I would like to know what it is. Because I think there's a difference between genre and stance, right? So, like, for example, I often like heightened realism, but I don't think that's a genre. I think that's a stance. Like, I like it to feel realistic, but I like the realism to be a little bit... She wants her stories to be hope punk. But, okay, here's the question. When she says that, does she mean, I want my stories to be hopeful? Yes. Right. Thank you, right? So, if hope punk is being used as a counter for grimdark, then, again, I don't know if that's a genre, right? And I don't know... Well, grimdark, Barantor says that he likes it, but the way that I've always heard grimdark being used is that grimdark is a negative term to describe things that are overly cynical, overly dark, in ways that are a little bit, that are unrealistic, that are beyond how things actually work, and are just dark for the sake of being dark, right? They're like, it's always the worst, like, oh, there's a puppy and it's dead, and like you have a mom and your mom is dead, and you have friends and they die, and you sit out alone in the dark in the rain, and you're like, my life is so sad. Actually, I don't know if Cthulhu is grimdark, because when I think about grimdark, I think about the term coming from the 90s, in that kind of 1990s Batman, Frank Miller sort of space, where you're just sort of unrelentingly dark in a kind of self-indulgent way, right? So grimdark has an implication of self-indulgence, sort of thinking, yeah... I think that when people were using the term grimdark, I think a lot of it is about a kind of a self-indulgence of your grimness, as opposed to... Right, exactly, right. So I think, and this is the thing about Carlin, I think this is an important point, the parody aspect. I think that when people say, oh, that's so grimdark, it is a critique of self-indulgent, unrelenting grimness in a way that you're just like, well, what is the point of that, right? That and grimness, not to actually work through some kind of thematic, not in a thoughtful and interesting way that's like smart, but just like, oh, I'm wearing a lot of black and my life is so sad, right? And so if you're going to say my hope punk is the counter to your grimdark, I'm not even quite sure any of those are genres at all, right? Its energy is like, I love this stream. Let me read this thing on the screen for you all. Unlogical or evil or vile actions or life. Yeah, right. So just sort of like illogical. Thank you. Illogical. So if grimdark is everything is awful, hope punk is everything is wonderful, because that is the opposite. Darkness, no parents. Thank you, Krillin. Thank you, yes. But I think what's interesting, though, Paladin, for me, what I think is fascinating about the phrase hope punk is that they want to put the word punk in there, because I think the word punk signifies coolness. So if you just said, I want a hopeful story, I think that's not cool, right? So if you say, oh, no, I like hope punk, that makes you cooler than if you just said, I like hopeful stories. So what I want to know is whether or not what the word punk is doing in the phrase hope punk. I want to know if it's about dealing with darkness and dealing with inequality, or whether or not it's about hope rebellion. Like, well, of course you find it confusing because it's a word that was made up like 4 weeks ago. You know what I mean? Like, right. So here's the thing: the opposite of grimdark is My Little Pony, but they didn't say My Little Pony. They said hope punk. So why did they say that? Why are they putting those two words together? Is the punk actually doing anything besides? Oh, yeah. If you're sort of like, if you want to be like a cool rebel, of course you want to be punk rock. Punk rock's way cooler than being mainstream. Like it's like, you know, punk, alterna, indie, all those things make you cooler than like a mainstream person. Like that's like the teenage thing. Mainstream people aren't cool. They're sheeple. Outsiders are cool, right? There's like a... But actually, you know, even like greasers in the 50s, they wore their leather and they had their hair and they were cool, right? So like the idea of being outsiders is being cool. So I don't know if punk in the word hope punk is about really dealing with inequality and dealing with social structures and gaps between rich and poor, or if it's just a way to sort of signal that I'm cool. We actually really just like taking the second half of a thing that happened and putting it on things we want to be similar. Yeah, and so what I don't know is, and what I think is interesting, because Krellin is right about that, what I think is interesting is that diesel punk, steampunk, and cyberpunk actually are all using the word punk in the same way. Exactly, Krellin. I was just thinking about Watergate. So those three genres are actually doing that. They really are using punk in a way that is sort of unified stylistically. But I don't know whether or not hope punk actually is doing that, or whether or not it's just using the word punk to be cool. So that's the thing I don't know. And if it's just using it to be cool, then it's not actually, like, what is that? So I don't know. So I can't say, because I need to see how hope punk manifests itself in practice. And I need to see if it actually is a genre, or if it's a stance, and if it's a stance that just means I'm hopeful. Because if it's just a stance that just means I'm hopeful, then I feel like hope punk, like, why are you using the word punk? Whatever. Like, and the thing is, steampunk is hopeful, right? Steampunk is a hopeful genre, but it's using the word punk. Home punk says that kindness and softness doesn't equal weakness, and that in this world of brutal cynicism and nihilism, being kind is a political act, an act of rebellion. That's not a genre, though. That's a stance. And also, that's just not a genre. That's a stance. That's not a genre. That's a stance. And it's fine to have a stance, but it's also like color me skeptical about this one. And again, I think it's fine to have a stance that's about wanting to be hopeful in dark times. You get up and you keep fighting and caring and trying to make the world a little bit better for the people around you. Yeah, I don't know, like, it's not a genre. That's not a genre. So because you could have, I mean, the thing is, you can have people who are dedicated to making the world a better place in a Western. You can have, right, exactly, it's not a genre, it's a political position, and that's fine. Going to political protest is, it's not calling your senators is hope punk, but crying is also hope punk, because crying means you still have feelings, and feelings are how you know you're alive. Well, the thing is, it depends, the thing is, you can do that in so many different ways. Romance doesn't have specific centers, but it's, yeah. Can heroes fail in hope punk? Probably not. I mean, not ultimately. I think that's part of the point. If and I don't even want to call it. Yeah. So like I think genre. PH was saying that it's a genre, and so it just doesn't seem like a genre at all to me. It seems like a political position, because it doesn't. I mean, if the whole point is that heroes struggle and they like. Romance isn't a genre, it's a ghetto where women authors are kept separate from genuine literature. Oh, I don't know if you did, PH, I don't know if you misused the word genre at all, because for all I know, other people have called it genre, and that's why you called it a genre. I don't know if you're misusing it. Maybe somebody else misused it, and you just followed them. I don't know. So, I'm not, I am not even putting that on you, because maybe somebody called it a genre. So, I mean, I think that romance has become a genre with particular tropes in it, right? With particular tropes and conventions, and so that's so. But I would say that there are things that have romance in it that aren't romance novels. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, the idea that like good people fighting to make the world a better place, you could do that like in so many different ways, in many different styles. Like it's easy to tell those stories, right? Part of romance are like that. My wife writes erotic romance, which isn't like more contemporary romance. Yeah, that's exactly right. Right. So I think what's complicated about romance is that there is a genre of romance, and there's also like there are subgenres and also different tones. Also, I'm going to read this thing for you all. So, the Lost Temple of Dirt Ha Men. For his heart, our highest one is bound. The secret that he keeps with us. The vigil that he keeps with us. His fear will not weaken us. No one shall come, dear mentor. In our eternity, only darkness reigns. Here's fighting to make the world a better place. Is so many stories. Well, this is why I don't think it's a genre, PH. Right? I mean, if your whole point is that you want to say, I don't want to be cynical, I want to be hopeful, sure. I don't... Oh! Ouch! Hey! Stop it! Leave me alone! We've got some people trying to murder us right now. You're gonna have to give me a second. Okay, wait. Okay, I think we're good. Sorry, we just had a little bit of murder happening right there for a moment. That took a little space, a little bit of murder, but I think we're okay. Yeah, so that's the thing. I just think we have to be sort of thoughtful, and look, I have no problem. If you're always hopeful doesn't meaning, failure is what makes success great. Just a little murder we have to do. Well, I mean, the darker the night, the better. Right, but there are genres that are not about that, right? Like, if you want to do a My Little Pony game, there are a lot of other genres, right? Iron Bull came out with that with more health than going in. Oh, I think I've got some kind of bonus on it that lets him pull some health, none of which seem to have, have the same specificity of, say, Cyberpunk. Mm-hmm. Shameless stolen quote, yeah. Though I'm also skeptical of Hope Punk just playing... Yeah, no, I mean, the thing, I think what I would say is, I think it's fine to make a statement that says, I want sort of my life full of failure absolutely does not make a few successes shine brighter, makes them more meaningless. And that's about sort of stance in relationship to failure and success, right? I mean, what is that thing like a pessimists say the glass is half full and optimists say it's half empty, but it's the same glass, and how do you relate to that? How do you see the balance? Like, I think there are just a lot of different stances, and I think that those are stances, right? And so I think that one could easily say the failures that I've had override any successes that I've had, and that's a stance. And somebody could say the other way, and somebody could say, like, hey, you're being ridiculous. I think there's just a lot of stances. And let's see, where we need to get, there are places we haven't been to yet. We need to get here and here. So let's try going back and seeing, well, we can go around, that's fine. We'll go this way, that's fine. So, like, you can have My Little Pony and have it, like, I mean, there are entire genres that are unrelentingly upbeat no matter what happens. It's, like, all upbeat all the time, and that's what those genres are about. They're not about failure, or if there's failure, it's only temporary failure. Or sort of adversity, but only to make things seem good in the end, and there are people who like that. Like, those are, you can certainly have hyper hopeful things. Like, that is not only doable, but it is done. And some people may not like it, but some people may like it. I mean, I know people who, right, I mean, kids shows, for example. But also, please note, I know a lot of people who are grown-up adults, and they only watch kids shows because they don't like other things, right? So, I mean, there are people for whom kid shows are what, I mean, there are people who only watch Disney, right? They're grown-up people and they only watch Disney because that is the world they want to live in, and that's the kind of media they want to consume. And so you can certainly tell stories like that. And you can tell stories where failure is only temporary and it's not a long-term thing, and there really is no pony with attitude, right? I mean, it's like, and I am not judging those things at all. I think that sometimes people want aggressively upbeat stories, and sometimes people want not that. They want different things, and it's just important. But I just don't think an aggressively upbeat story is a genre, because you can do that in a lot of different things. I don't know. Anyway, I just feel like the term hope punk is being used being used as a stance, and yes, that's all. Unless we could, like, unless the word punk is being used in that way to talk about social inequality and focus on that, and that being sort of like a central theme, and then I don't know. We have to ponder it. Hard in Hightown, Chapter 7 by Varric Tethras. We have a new Hard in Hightown. What is this doing here? Well, we're going to read it. Don and Brankovic searched Comte de Favre's office. The Comte lay dead, murdered, while armed and barricaded inside his own home. The servants' rooms were all empty, and from the pulled-out drawers and abandoned trunks, they had been sent away in a hurry. The Comte had clearly expected trouble, and trouble had come to call. Hope could be describing a trope, like romance. Yeah, yeah. I think that's right. It could be a trope. Exactly. It could be a trope. It could be a stance. It could be a tone. I just don't know why we need to say hope punk rather than, or a collection of tropes. Why we have to call it hope punk and just not hopeful, or just not optimistic. Like, I'm just sort of wondering if the word punk is a way to make being optimistic seem less uncool. In which case, that makes me a little sad. You know what I mean? Because, like, if you just want to be hopeful, just say it. Like, I don't know if you need the suffix punk to make it seem more legitimate. It just feels like a move to make it seem more legitimate, because being hopeful on its own would not be seen as legitimate or authentic, and that makes me sad. Like, if you just want to be hopeful, like, do it. Like, that's cool. The Comte kept all of his letters. Decades of correspondence sorted by, apparently, kingdom of origin, filled his writing desk. Donnan rummaged through them, looking for darker ink, fresher pages, anything that might indicate that it was recent. And then came the shattering sound of someone kicking in the front door. "Hey, my lord Fancy Pants, get your ass down here!" Javelin and Donnan ran for the foyer. A woman stood over the splintered door, her eyes glittering brighter than the daggers in her hands. "You there!" she snapped at the guardsman. "Where's the Comte full of it? We need to have some words. One of them will be coin, another will be now." "Kirkwall Guard!" Donnan barked back at her. "This is a crime scene. Identify yourself." "Guards, are you?" she smirked, squinting up into the dark towards him. "No suits of armor outside. Man poking around a noble's house in the dark. This does look like a crime scene." Donwan didn't flinch. "Your name?" Hope Punk comes from a one-line Tumblr post, so I'm pretty sure the punk is 100%. Yeah. This is what I'm suspecting, Krellin. This is what I'm suspecting. We're on the same page here. "Belladonna, Captain Belladonna of the Dragon's Jewels." She executed a florid bow that somehow managed to be insulting. "Where's the damn Comte?" "He's dead," Donnan said, watching her reaction. "You wouldn't know anything about that, would you?" She cracked a wry smile. "Trust me, sweet thing, if I were going to kill him, I'd have waited until he paid me first." "Oh, It's Energy, you gotta go! Thank you for this. Thank you for being here, It's Energy, and have a good time. It's so good to have you here. Also, I feel like no, I'm not off-center. I'm good." "What was your business with the Comte?" Javelin spoke up, startling Donnan. He'd almost forgotten his partner was there. "Cargo transport," she glowered at the recruit. "He hired me to deliver some antiques, and I've been sitting at anchor for a fortnight without being paid." She peered up into the dark balconies overhanging the foyer and shouted, "Anybody here? You want this rubbish? Come to the docks tonight and pay me 50 sovereigns for it. Otherwise, I'm dumping it in the sea." With that, she turned on her heel and strode away. Oh, it's so good to have all the peoples here. So, I suppose what I would say is my discomfort, my dis-ease about the term hope punk is that it seems to indicate that being hopeful is perceived of as being so inauthentic that they need to use the word punk to make it cool. You're going to have to gaff your couch to know where to sit. I know! It's totally true. But I think I'm good, right? Uh-oh. We just got more body parts. And bad guys are gonna show up. Where are my friends? Where are my friends? Hello, friends. Why are you not in here with me? Why are you making my life miserable? Why are you not fighting? What is wrong with you all? And I would like my friends to maybe get into a fight with me. Alright, we're good. We're good. The opposite of grimdark is hope punk, pass it on. That's the Tumblr. Huh. So then my feeling is, alright. I would have just ignored it, but Lauren seems to embrace it immediately. Well, of course she would, because she likes non-cynical media. I mean, have you seen Celestial Rangers? Like, Celestial Rangers is about the power of friendship. And it's about there being some... the idea of angsty hopelessness being a genre is kind of weird to me, too. Yeah, no, I actually agree with you, Remshin. I think that grimdark is also a stance and not a genre. So I am 100% with you on that one. I think, and then someone wrote an extensive example of hope punk. Krellin, what may I ask? And this is probably the wrong question to ask, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What genre was the hope punk example? I'm curious as to, when they gave an example of hope punk, an extensive example, what the setting was, and I was wondering if you could tell me. Because I am
And here's where the magic happens. Literally.
Okay, we, I think, are at the end of this. I think we are at the fulcrum the end point of this. It wasn't one particular genre. The reason I wrote examples is because it was just a verbose definition. Oh, I see. Handmaiden's Tale? Oh. Ah. Handmaid's Tale is hope punk? Ooh. I don't know about that. That's Ooh. Ooh. The person in the article is saying The Handmaid's Tale is hope punk? Nobody I've read, nobody I know who's read that book has come away feeling hopeful at the end of it. Like, everybody I know who's read that book has come across... Jesus and Gandhi and Martin Luther King and Robin Hood and John Lennon were hope punk. Alright, we're going to place these body parts, these disembodied body parts.
Ket, bringing those organs here, putting them back together. Who knows what will happen?
Bad things will happen. Like, clearly, this is just a bad idea, what we're doing right now. Like, I mean, we're just doing we're making bad choices. Let's read this. It's scary and dark, and at first glance it looks grimdark because it's a dystopian, but she also says Sam's speech about hope. But God? But G-O-D-D? Let's see. Explorers in the Temple. A series of papers and notes are stuffed into a small booklet. It is stained with dried blood and covered in dust. The most legible entry is its last. I don't know. Never giving up isn't a kids show thing, though, because in a kids show you win on the first or second try. But actually, never giving up is often a theme that they talk about in kids shows. They're like, "Hey, never give up. It's really important. Power of friendship." So like that's often a thematic that they're trying to teach kids, perseverance. Yeah, and I mean just because you keep fighting doesn't mean that it's hope punk. I don't know. Yeah, that's right. And actually, I mean, like, I know a lot of U.S. kid shows that would like that, like, especially... Yeah, no, I mean, I've seen that in U.S. kid shows, too. Like, don't give up. Come on, gang. We can do it. And a lot of, like, sort of... The 30s, a lot of genre in the 30s where you're like, it's hard, but don't give up. Like, Depression-era stuff, a lot of that was going on there, too. I mean... Maybe you just want to play hopeful characters, you can do that. Like, but, I mean, I'm going to tell you, especially since, I don't know, because maybe the character Offred kept fighting, but at the end of the book, it's being told in retrospect by a person who was basically reproducing the sort of oppression that she went through. So, like, I don't know about all that. Yeah, so, I mean, and there's a lot of perseverance in our stuff too, so I don't know. In kids media, like I think this, like, don't give up, gang. We can do it. That happens all the time. I wonder who it is who's writing this last one. I think it's our guy. So here we go. No, it's somebody else. We're still not certain why Lord Gretien ran off during the night. The others think it's the nightmares, though they say it's voices that speak to them. We took a vote and decided to continue the search for men's wisdom. If we don't, we forfeit everything we've worked towards. Trying to piece together all of Gretien's notes won't be easy, but all I can think is that we need to put the relics revealed by the braziers into these flames. It's all part of some elven ritual, I suppose. The only gruesome part is all these desiccated organs. Lord Gretien believed they were part of the high priest of this temple, and that we're somehow reassembling him. I find it unsettling that the elves would have disassembled their high priest in the first place. How's your game making? Oh, well, now I have to ask you. Okay, look, just for the side note, before we start, I will tell you in 1 second, but I just want to say this before we get there. I, as a player, am, although I suppose in the U.S., it's in the, yeah, as Perseverance is often superpower assigned to non-super people like Batman or... Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah, so here's the thing. I'm just going to say, before I tell you, Remshin, here's what I'm going to tell you. I am 100% convinced, after everything we've read, that putting together this High Priest is a super bad idea. That the High Priest went power mad and bad, and that doing this is going to bring him back, and that he was desiccated instead of put apart in little pieces for a good reason by his followers, and that we are just doing the worst thing ever. But don't you want to see what happens? So this is a bad idea. We all know it, but we're going to do it anyway. And that over there looks bad. It's fine. So, Remshin, I have not had any time to work on my game. I did a little bit. I was actually able to get a little bit of work done. Just put together the priest. Yeah, let's do it. Summon the highest one. Again, super bad idea, everyone. We're going to do it. I was able to get a little bit of work done. I was able to put together the emotion matrix for the last sprite combo that I have. So that's pretty good. And now I just need to go and finish the coding, and I haven't had time, what with everything. And I'm hoping that once I get these fellowship applications done... oh look! It's someone who's trying to kill us. Like, are you at all surprised? No, you are not surprised. Because you should leave me alone. Oh, you are not leaving me alone. Okay. Let's try to do some of this. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000. Let's, yeah, so, here's the thing, folks. I've got this bad guy after me, and he's dangerous, and we're going to try to kill him, but it does not look... here's the thing, PH. We did not save. So we're just going to hope that we don't die. And 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000. I just hope that we don't die, because we're in that space. I think we'll be okay. Maybe.
The High Priest of the Temple.
We did it.
Rather sad if you think about it.
Okay. Well, we got it. I mean, there was some danger, but we did it. But now we should save, because we do not want, let's hope. It's a theme. And here's the thing. I think what I would say is, Care Bear type to be reincarnated. I know! Like, why was it somebody so, like, why was it somebody who was such a downer? Why couldn't it have been somebody happy who was like, hey, I'm the highest one. How are you doing? Have some puppies. And I think what I would say about this whole matter is, I actually am not into grimdark. I like dark things, and I sometimes like grim things, but if we sort of think of grimdark as like this sort of self-indulgence, then that's not particularly interesting to me. The High One's name was Debbie. Aw, hey Debbie. And 100! I also quite like characters that are hopeful sometimes, but I just don't think I would just... Dude, I'm like, I'm like the highest one and stuff. Debbie Downer. Wah, wah. Oh, hey, it's a supply crate. Maybe we can have you take a potion? And then maybe I can take a potion? Oh, I think I'm fine. So let's just use the supply crate. Why do we need a supply crate right now, do you think? Do you think something really bad's gonna happen? We saved, right? We did. I just am a little concerned that they gave us a supply crate. I feel like when they give you a supply crate, it's never a good thing. One man left. Belt of Electric Resistance, Hoarfrost Staffed, Paragon Asith Grey carving, Dirt Hammond's Wisdom, which is a shield. Oh. Level 8. Well, this doesn't even look like a really good shield for us then. Whatever. You know what though? I feel like I suppose I could, like, I can do anything. Like I said, I will do anything for a one-shot, right? And maybe I'll do a one-shot where it's very kid show-like. That could be fine. I mean, I'd think about it if I want to do that. It's possible. Have we gotten everything in this area? I think we have, right? This looks to me like we have completed everything. And I don't think we need to... Of course there are exceptions. Right. I mean, I've been contemplating Star Trek as run via Fate. Oh. I feel like that probably would work. But Stephen fails, and that's important. Oh, what is this? What is this? I feel like we have a thing, maybe, that we ran into, that we missed. Oh, maybe we didn't. No, but there's totally something around here. I just think we probably can't find it. Maybe we can. I don't know. What's going on? No? Well, I need to play Fate game at some point. I played Fate at a convention when using Eclipse Phase using Fate. And I was originally skeptical of Fate. Whoa. Oh yeah. Fights by trying to redeem villains and succeeds about half the time. Oh. Oh. Let's open this, shall we? Can we? I think we can open this now. What was I going to tell you? I just had a thought. Path of Secrets. I was going to tell you all something. Steven Universe, kid shows, Fate. Oh, Fate. That's what it was. So I played Eclipse Phase with Fate, and when I was when people were describing Fate to me, I was skeptical of the system because of the way that it was described. Now, the people who were describing it were people who loved it, and they loved it, I think, for particular reasons that were not my jam. Like, were not my bag. So, sort of a narrativist game, which includes the ability for players to control the environment. Like, it's a super hopeful show, but sometimes he decides to trust someone, and they try to murder him. Oh. But, yeah. And I gotta say, like, I can be super hopeful, right? Like, I don't subscribe to the idea that if you want to have a realistic sci-fi universe, everyone has to actually be evil and try to kill you. Like, I feel like you could have a completely pacifist and non-violent alien race. I don't think that would be unrealistic. I think it could happen. You'd have to think about what happens when they meet human beings, but, I mean, I think it's doable. So, yeah. And also, sometimes people just don't want realism. Like, I was thinking about this, maybe it was Krellin? Maybe it was Krellin? Somebody was saying that they thought that it was unrealistic in Dream Daddy. Like, it bothered them that the main characters in Dream Daddy were not getting homophobic attacks, that people were not attacking them and being homophobic towards them. And that didn't bother me, because I feel like that wasn't what the game was about. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that sometimes... So, no, it wasn't you then. It was somebody. I can't remember who it was then. It wasn't you. Who was it? I wish I could remember who it was. It was somebody who was like, yeah, like, I would want them to get sort of homophobically attacked, because that's realistic. And I just feel like some people don't want that realism in their game. You know what I mean? Like, But also... Oh, hi! Who are you people? And why are you trying to kill me? And why are you even here right now? But also, I would say, you all should leave me alone. Alright, we're good. They're leaving me alone now. But I think what I would also say... Right, I mean, And sometimes you want to do that, right? Like sometimes you want to play a game where that is happening, but then sometimes you just don't want to do that. And I think that's also completely valid. Good morning to HUDs. And I just think that it should be that you can have a game that has a feeling of realism. Oh, you just slept for 10 hours? Good for you. Right. If you slept for 10 hours, that means you needed it, and I honor you for getting those 10 hours, because that's really good. So we just did, like, a whole bunch of stuff, which is pretty amazing, and we're going to hang out at the Exalted Plains now, I think. We're going to head over there. Let's see, where are we going to show up? We have been a lot of places already, and there's a lot more to do, so I think we should show up here, and then sort of start moving up this way. If that was included, it should be used to have the two characters come together. But I also just think... So, it's like... Okay, this is what it's like. And this is where we sort of maybe sort of get into sort of... like, I mean, sometimes you just want to play... You just want to be able to play a woman and not be harassed all the time. Or you want to play a gay person and not be harassed all the time. And sometimes there are games where that is what it's about and it's really good, and sometimes you just don't want to do that. And I think it should be fine to have multiple possibilities, right? Because sometimes maybe your life already is sucky enough and you want to be able to play a game where you don't have to deal with that. And I think that's super legit. I don't judge anybody who says they just would rather not. They would rather not, thanks. Do you know what I mean?
Inquisitor.
Woo! Fuck yeah, school is closed Monday and Tuesday. Is it? To HUDs? Why is your school closed Monday? No, Tuds, don't even worry about it. It's fine. Only love and joy on this one. Let's head north. All the isms can just be... And the thing is, sometimes you want it, right? Do you know what I mean? Oh, Hurricane. Are you okay? To HUDs, are you all right? Is everybody in your area okay? I'm just wanting to check in with you to make sure you're all right. And do you need anything from us? Let us know. I don't think that I can walk this way, but I'm going to try anyway. Because I like to make poor choices. Clearly, I don't think I can walk this way. So just know that, like, you know, let us know if you need anything, and if you're okay. Like, the MSSR game had a fair amount of sexist NPCs in it. Mm-hmm. I could have done without those. I'm almost in Atlanta. This is just dumb fear shit, but I'll take it. Alright. Okay. And here's the thing. I think that, like... I think that sometimes it's, like, I don't... Alright. This is what I'm going to say. This is going to be my comment on this. Some people will say, if you're going to do a story about a trans person, that trans person has to be murdered at the end because that's realistic, because trans people get murdered. And, like, everybody has to be transphobic and, and terrible to you because that's realism, and that's how it is in the real world. But I'm going to tell you something. Not everybody's transphobic, and not all trans people are murdered, and certainly not all trans people are miserable and sad and nobody loves them and all they do is sit at home alone just miserable, because that's actually not realistic. It's not realistic. Like, and does it happen? Yes. In the real world, this does happen to some people, but in the real world, there are also trans people whose parents don't reject them, who are loved, who have friends and who have family and are able to create a community where they don't deal with misery all the time. And so it's not even just escapism. Like, it's not just escapism to have a person who's not miserable and, like beaten down all the time. And, right, so it depends on the kind of story you want to tell. But I think my point, I think this is really important. This goes back to the thing that we talked about at the very early point in this stream. That, like, no, not everybody was racist in the 1920s. And if I'm going to run a game in the 1920s, it's not... I don't have to make a game where if somebody chooses to play a person of color in the game, their life is going to be so horrible and they're not going to have fun, right? Because there were people in the 1920s who were of color who were able to find joy and love and community. So, yeah, the spectrum of experience is huge. People can get too caught up in calling their experience notions realism, and then sometimes that realism is just an excuse to be horrible. And like, you don't, you know. And that's where, right, grimdark becomes unrealistic, because it's not only that. It's not only that. What is this? There's a shard there, some shards there. This shard we've had a hard time getting. What we're gonna do is we're gonna head east, pick up. Yes, and misery is not. Yes. And it gets really weird, right? If you start making a game where misery is only for different people, and people who are not different then don't have misery. Like, I don't know what that game is doing. Then again, in the SR setting, which is decidedly punk, with heavily influences of prejudice. Right, and so, certainly those... But of course, I think the question becomes, how do you want to do it? To sort of quote Matt Mercer, like, how do you want to do this? And I think... So there's a song... that is actually on my syllabus for this year. It's by Betty Carter, a jazz singer. All right, we're going this way. It's by Betty Carter, jazz singer, and the song is from 1958, I think, or 59. It's from the year that Billie Holiday died, and it's about Billie Holiday. And we're in a new place. Well, this is interesting. There are statues. What is this place? Hi, everyone. What are you all doing? Anyway, the song is called... It's about Billie Holiday, who had just died, right? And the song is called Don't Weep for the Lady. And it's like, you know, don't weep for the lady. 59, thank you, Krellin. She wouldn't like it that way. It's this really beautiful song about Billie Holiday. And here's the thing about it. There are people who were fans, I suppose, of Billie Holiday, who were invested in her in a certain way, but what they were invested in was in her being miserable and drug addicted and sad and suffering and never happy, and then just her life being the worst in all ways at all times. And Betty Carter knew Billie Holiday, was friends with Billie Holiday. It was like, you know, Billie Holiday sometimes also was happy. Billie Holiday wasn't only always miserable. And, you know, come on now, hold on a second, right? Don't do that to her. And did she have a hard life? She did. Like, I will not tell you that she didn't have a hard life. But the point is that she also sometimes had joy in her life. And only making her miserable does a disservice to her, because that wasn't her only life. And that was and she felt so strongly about this that she wrote this song where she wanted to sort of also acknowledge that Billie Holiday also... Oh, hey, I didn't even notice that there. Also at times could have joy, and I don't think it's healthy in some ways to project onto people only misery, because that becomes like some kind of weird fetish. Do you know what I mean? Where like you want them to be miserable because that makes you excited, and like... That's not cool, is what I would say. That's what I would say. So, I think that if you're doing a historical game, I just think you have to really think about what kind of historical game do your players want to have, what do you want to have, and then how do you want to do it? And in your quest for realism, are you actually creating a fantasy of misery? And that it actually isn't realistic. And I think... Yes, exactly, Remshin, exactly. Are you romanticizing misery in a way that, in your insistence that you're being realistic, actually you're not being realistic at all? So, yeah. Only one or the other is too one-sided. And sometimes maybe you want to do that, right? Maybe you have a reason why you want to do that, but I think that it has to be really mindful. I think that one has to be really, like, thoughtful about it. And then I also think, and this is, I think, really important when thinking about doing a game that is dealing with heavy themes like isms or classism, regionalism, racism, all that stuff. I think that it is important. Oh look, here we go, folks. Let's save. But thinking is hard. I'm tired. I want to delete this save here. Wait, I want to delete one of these saves. Let's delete this save. Okay, and then we'll overwrite this one. So one of the things I think is really important when doing a game that is dealing with the themes of harassment in sort of ways, right, or oppression in other ways, I think one of the most important things to really make sure, and this is really important, I think it's really important to make sure that if your game has oppression in it, the PCs themselves can be discriminated against, but the players are not. Like, you can harass the PCs, but don't harass the player. And that, I think, is really, really important. Sure, you can have NPCs being disrespectful, you can have PCs being disrespectful of other PCs, but what I think you can't have is taking that as an excuse to harass the players. That is a no-go. And I think that... So here's the thing, PH. You say of course, but I have personally been in games where that of course was not... But here's the thing: the GMs that I was involved in those moments, they thought they were just being quote unquote realistic. They were not paying attention. And it was also kind of like a, if you're tough enough that you can handle it. Do you know what I mean? Like, so what if I'm doing things like, if you're like, just be tougher about it. Don't be made uncomfortable. Like, don't be weak. Like all that kind of stuff. And like, don't be whiny. Like, we're just playing a game. But I was like, but hold on a second. So I think there's a way in which some people will think that, like, constant harassment in game is not mistreating the players. The players just need to, like, get over it. So I just think one has to be really mindful and aware and sensitive to one's players. Exactly, Krellin. Exactly that. And so I think that one has to be mindful. And again, I actually am very interested in playing with prejudices and discriminations in various ways. I just don't want to oppress my players. PH, Krellin was being sarcastic. He is using a phrase that is used to sort of oppress people and sort of like propagate toxic notions of masculinity by telling people like, oh, you have to man up, right? So that's what he was not advocating that position. He was being sarcastic. Yeah, I've also seen GMs go overboard when it moves from aiding the story world to harming the player. Yeah, totally. Like, I have also seen that happening. Oh, look, sketch of the innocuous a mini peephole of a trooper. Crit Witch, it's the peephole of me. This is my 250 goal thing. We haven't hit 250, but I just feel like we will do it in advance because I know we will hit 250. So this is our 250 goal that we get early. Ta-da! Hey, Crit Witch. And I also think, like, as a person with simulationist tendencies, I think it's really important to remember that not everybody was miserable and not everybody was a jerk, right? So, and people, yeah, and so I just think it's really important to be aware that realism also means that not everybody's the worst. And then so also sometimes maybe you don't want to be realistic in that way. You can be realistic in other ways and not that way. And just, be thoughtful and mindful. And sometimes people don't do that. And that makes me sad because... So, I mentioned that I was going to run... But I'm a jerk. And if not everyone is a jerk, that means my jerky is just jerky and not real. Oh, Krellin. I think that you've hit the nail on the head of some people's thought process there, actually. So yeah, I need everyone to be a jerk to make me able to live with myself. Yeah, no, I do. I think that's actually, I do think that is something that is going on with some people. And like, you can hear it when people say things like, well, I mean, nobody would have helped that person. And I was like, no, I would have. Like, please don't say nobody, because actually some people would have. They would have helped someone. So yes, I actually do think that is something that is often going on in those conversations. And it's funny, you know, I was, customers are the worst. So I want to get over there, and I feel like there's a way to do it. Hey, by the way, everyone, we're in the Exalted Plains. We're hanging out in our elf-tastic space right now. And we're going to see how to get where we need to get. Okay, so this is, whoop, there we go. We got stuff. Love it. Perfect. And also loot. Yeah, so in, the Cthulhu Confidential, which is a game that I'm going to run. I am going to run this game, by the way. I get all the greatest elf cooties. Elf cooties are the best because they have pointed ears. I don't know. We'll think about it. But yeah, so Cthulhu Confidential, besides being in the Gumshoe system. Oh, you gotta get ready for Shadowrun? That is great. Okay, nobody need banning, because Jer's going on getting ready for Shadowrun, and I cannot ban people from here. So, by the way, Jer, thank you so much for being here. We're not going to be streaming for much longer, because it is almost 3 o'clock, and I have to get ready for Call of Cthulhu. So, but we're going to just do a little bit more here. Just a little bit more in the space. All the Krell's going to do all the bannable things. Krellin is going to I don't even know all the stuff. Sneaks behind Krellin, kiss. Oh, all of the hugs. All of the hugs. What did I want to tell you all? Oh, fell off. Damaged myself. That's all I do in my life, is fall off things and damage myself. But it's cool. I don't mind. What was it? Oh yeah, I was going to tell you about Gumshoe. So Cthulhu Confidential is using the Gumshoe system, which I want to run because it is super, super narrativist, and it's super part of this new vibe. So all the Gumshoe systems, it does not freak out and smack things. All the Gumshoe system games are primarily investigative games, like that's what they're about. They're about investigating. By the way, I washed my boots off earlier, and I'm polishing them because of all this military talk. Oh, I love a good polished boot. I wonder if Cthulhu has a phone number. I want to call Cthulhu. Here's the thing, PH. I don't want to dissuade you in your dreams. I don't think you should call Cthulhu. I think it's never a good idea when people call Cthulhu, because he might answer the phone, and I don't think you want that to happen. I'm just saying. Oh, is somebody attacking me? Don't attack me. It's rude. I'm attacking you. So in, let's do a little bit of that. Let's do a little bit of this as well. A little bit of killing some things. Cthulhu does not accept collect charges. Don't call Cthulhu. So it's very much one of these narrativist games, and it's very much in the kind of like player-facing, no failure sort of thing. Is what, like, it's very much in that space. So in all the I'll call Cthulhu a jerk. Is maybe I could just convince him to not come into it. Oh, you could say, hey Cthulhu, just want to give you a call to say, hey, just want to let you know that our dimension's not particularly fun right now. You probably don't want to be here. Might want to like hold off for a while. Not call Cthulhu Bay. Go to the other dimension where we have... Yes, send him to the goatee dimension. That's the best one. I support that. Call Cthulhu. Hey, I just met you, and now I'm going crazy. Here's a sacrifice. Call Cthulhu, maybe. Right, we'll just, we'll get it. I think that'll be the way to go. So yeah, right, so basically you can never fail in any investigation. If you want to do an investigation of any sort, you will always succeed at it. Non-investigative skills are actually rolled against, and so, but there are a lot of, anyway, it's hyper narrative. And I want to run it. It's also set in the 40s, and so each game, there are 3 different adventures with 3 different protagonists. One protagonist is sort of like a noir detective type. One protagonist is a woman reporter in the 40s, and one protagonist is a black male vet doctor in DC, also in the 40s. Maybe late 30s for him. Anyway, they sort of note that in these games you could sort of play up sort of discrimination and how the adversity that these players would sort of deal with, or you cannot. You can play it down, and they talk about sort of thinking about, do your players want to deal with that at this moment or not, and you can sort of move up or move down. And so they were really sort of thoughtful about wanting to think about that as something to be mindful of, right? And you can do that. You can do it in different ways. Let's see what we have here. We have, why are you barricaded here?
Why have you barricaded yourselves in here?
We had to retreat from the Western Front. The demons and undead were too much. But it's no better here. My patrols don't return, messages are lost. I've had no word from the capital in weeks. If we could regain our outposts, the ramparts, or even the garrison by the river, we can't just keep hiding. I want to die like a soldier, not cowering under a bed, praying the monsters don't get me.
Oh. I actually really love Remshin's idea that if you want to give somebody a fake number, just give them Cthulhu's number. I think that will fix many problems. Let's ask about, let's just say that the Civil War is over, by the way.
The war is over. Gaspard will never be emperor.
What? It can't be over. We can still fight. The throne is Gaspard's by right. No. It is done.
It is done.
And we will face justice for supporting the usurper.
This is true. Also, Freemen of the Dales?
I've heard something of the Free Men of the Dales. What do you know about them?
They're a mob of traitors. Too soft for war. Thought it was a skirmish or two's and back for supper. Turns out it wasn't. And off they run to the first person to tell them their tantrums are acceptable. Now, independence. To establish a new settlement. Ridiculous.
I just met you, and I might be crazy, but Cthulhu, baby, call me maybe. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I think that we should just do a lot of filks that are all Cthulhu-themed Carly Rae Jepsen.
I've cleared out the dead from the western ramparts.
You did?
Yes.
Maker's breath. There's hope for us, if the ramparts have been reclaimed. I'd alert our forces stationed outside the Dales, but the chaos makes it difficult for missives to get through.
I'll let them know.
Demons. Those blasted freemen, or whatever they call themselves.
Hey, what was that? What was that? What was the name of that temple? I've got to find out the name of that temple, because we need to put that on our stream when I make it a... When I make it a thing.
Just what we needed.
Last week, I think I found a Nietzsche theme. Call me maybe, Phil. It was great. Oh, if you can find it again, will you please share it in the Discord? Because if there's a Nietzsche themed Call Me Maybe, Phil, I really, really, really want to hear it. So please, please.
The demons are coming close.
Okay, let's claim. Fort Revessan. Did you know that Revas is the elven word for freedom? Revessan is the place where freedom dwells. One wonders why it wasn't given a more appropriate name after the reclamation of the days. Perhaps the adage remains true. Once one gets used to a name, it's hard to change. The walls in this place are ancient. I hope it holds. From the log of Marshal Bastien Proul, loyal to Grand Duke Gaspard. 40s fashion was I'm just generally speaking interested in fashion all around. By the way, I want... Oh, letter. we're ending soon, but I just want to sort of wrap up our space. Legends of the Three Sisters, Book 2. Typically, the three sisters react in a similar manner upon entering the Belle Marche. Charisse is the adventurous one, intrigued by all the sights and sounds of the market and the most heedless of any dangers. Marie is the brash one, the most suspicious of everything she sees, and the one who makes withering sarcastic comments, even if she allows her sisters to drag her along. Brielle, meanwhile, is always the innocent one. She is depicted as wide-eyed and startled, like a doe lost in the wilderness. Yet, by the end of the tale, she is also the one who bursts out of her shell the most. A common initial stop for the girls, for instance, is the White Rose. It's an infamous establishment in the Belle Marche, serving tea and cakes to noble patrons by day, and at night transforming into a house of ill repute, filled with male and female prostitutes in elegant dress. The girls go there because the building is fashionable, some place they can escape from the market's crowds. Inside, Marie is the first to realize that the friendly gentlemen are not what they seem. Brielle is scandalized, but it's Charisse who runs off to dance with these men despite her sister's protests. This leads to a chase through the White Rose, Marie and Brielle stumbling into room after room where they are confronted with various patrons. Empress Celine herself is frequently mentioned. Marie scathingly berates these patrons, while Brielle is intrigued despite herself and eventually drawn off when Marie isn't looking. Marie throws her hands up in disgust and joins a dwarf in smoking an illicit substance from a wild contraption. It's at this point in the tale where the girl's desperate chaperone, La Bête, appears in the White Rose and things truly get interesting. Details vary, but by the end of this part of the tale, the White Rose is in flames, La Bête has pummeled her way through a legion of clueless patrons, and the three sisters are let out the back door by a charming elf, completely unaware anything is amiss behind them. To my knowledge, however, the White Rose has never burned to the ground in its entire existence, and maintains a legion of guards that make such antics implausible. Even so, the tale is stubbornly believed to be true, even in Valroy itself. From Tales of Valroy by Lord Werner Jacquin. Totally wrong accent. You don't like negative? He seems so negative. You know, remember, when people are negative, there are probably reasons for that. Like Adorno, super negative, but he was a German Jew who lived in Germany in the 1930s. So, you know, there are reasons why his theories are pretty negative. Just, Sergeant?
Have you seen any of our fallen men out there?
Hello. You've lost many?
Have many of you fallen?
What you see is all that's left. We were 1,000 strong once. The worst part is not knowing what happened to the men who don't come back. Deserters? Or dead? If they're dead, we've nothing to tell their families. Nothing to send home.
Good luck to you.
So, we've got to find letters for the grieved soldiers, and we don't have all of them yet, but we've got some. I think it is like 3:05. I should probably eat breakfast. Oh no, but I'm just saying there are a lot of reasons why people could be depressed in many different time periods. 1900 wasn't super fun.
Stinks of the dead.
Right, where are we? And can we get somewhere more interesting? Is there anything fun and exciting up here? Climbing on oops. On walls might be fun? No? Yes? I'm climbing on walls, everybody. It's like walking on broken glass, but full of walls. I don't think there's anything really exciting here for us. I mean, we can look. It doesn't look like it. Does it look like... I think we're good. So let's see. Where are we on the map? Oh. What is all this? Oh, more shards for us to pick up that we haven't done. And then things up there. I think we should go. I think we should head back to our world map. By the way, this was the what? This was the... Not the Black Emporium. It was the Lost Temple of Dirt Ha Men! So I'm going to have to note that we traveled into the Lost Temple on our thing. And then we talked about, like, Hope Punk and everything. Let's go back. I'm hearing by the way, I'm going to try next Saturday setting up my iPad so that, like, I can put the chat, you know, around me somewhere, and so that maybe I can take out the chat on the screen and then have a bigger me, and we'll just try it. We'll just see if we like it. It'll be an experiment. So we'll experiment with a different setup next Saturday just to see how it is. And I don't know how it will be, but we will experiment, and we'll see if we like it. And then I'll want you all to let me know if you like it this way or if you like it the other way. And then, of course, if you like it the other way, which you probably will, although maybe you won't, I don't know. I don't judge. If, however, Twitch's app doesn't work still, I like to experiment too. I just want to see. If Twitch's app doesn't work the way that it should, then I think we'll have to go back to this setup, but I will try. Because the only problem that I had was that last time Twitch's chat would stop, the Twitch app would stop refreshing the chat, and then I just wouldn't see your chat. So if I can get it, off to open a silo. Thanks for hanging out. Oh, thanks. By the way, thanks so much, Rimshin. And thank you for being here. So I'm back finally and found shoe polish, but I also found pics of old girlfriends and letters my grandmother sent me. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I found the letters my dad sent me in boot camp, and he typed them up all on a typewriter. Yeah, right? Right. So we're just going to do our table, our war table, and then we're done for the day. And it was a short, like, it felt like it went so fast because we had lots of really interesting conversations is what happened. But, you know, like we're just going to go and get resources. Reparations, scouts, conscripts. I think there's something up here. Gather herbs. Always gather herbs. Oh, I love that smell of... and of course, you know when you have a brand new pair of boots that you really, or like a boots that are super scuffed, you need to... I know it went way too fast today. That you really need to sort of work. Let's just... I don't know if it'll give us, but let's just give this... Let's do this.
Let us begin.
When you you put all the polish, a super thick layer of polish, then you bring out your lighter and you sort of melt the wax onto the boots, and then you just start going with a whole new layer. Just all the boot polishing. If there's one thing you get really good in the military, is polishing lots of boots. Unless you're in the Air Force, in which case you don't. Wah wah. Sorry, that was me doing a little bit of my military smack talk. Just a little bit of smack talk to the Air Force, because, you know, just a little bit, like, respect to the Air Force. But just a little smack talk. It's just a little. Come on. I'm being safe. They don't polish boots now. Really? What? Really? They don't polish boots anymore? Oh, all the suede. Really? Huh. Like, I knew that when the desert boots came out that you weren't going to go and polish them, but you only wore the desert boots when you were in your desert uniform. Is it now all desert boots all the time? Oh. I know. We're being mean in a good-natured way. A good-natured way. For example, the Air Force treat their people really well and their food is really good. The Marine Corps looks sharp. They can march like nobody's business. Their uniforms are excellent. And the Navy, they do like a really hard job. Good for them. So, you know, but even though... Oh, it's a dark sand color now, almost brown. Oh, that's interesting. Oh. But my good-natured ribbing about the fact that the Air Force can't polish their boots, although nobody polishes their boots anymore, is good-natured ribbing and still much respect. Respect to all the different services, although most respect to the Coast Guard, because they're super hardcore. They do all the hardcore work all the time. So I wanted to say thank you all, and I want to let you know that we're going to try to experiment next Saturday with using the Twitch app on my iPad to sort of read chat and using a sort of a slightly bigger porthole into the foxhole next Saturday, and we will see how that goes. But also, here's the thing, PH, try to be the best. I just want to say the thing about it is, if you think about combined arms, we all need each other. Do you know what I mean? Like, none of us could do whatever we do without each other. Like, all of us ground troops, we need air cover, and we need the Navy, and like we all need each other to do the job. And so I only, in my heart, have love for all the other services, but especially the Coast Guard. That's all. So next Saturday we're going to try it out. We'll experiment. We'll see how it goes. And I want to thank you all for being here. By the way, what a great conversation this was. I love it. So too long, didn't read. I'm skeptical of the term hope punk, but I think being hopeful in games is awesome. That's all. Like, I just don't need... Yeah, that's all. Sneaks up and hugs! Sneaks up and hugs! The Air Force doesn't need anyone. They just use drones and ICBMs. Because we all better service than Nation X. That's right. Oh, that's right. Nation X, their services is the worst. Ours is totally the best. That's awesome. So thanks, everyone. I will see you all on the Discords, and you probably won't see me until a little bit later tonight when I get done. But I want to say thanks, everyone. It's been really wonderful. I don't yet know what we will play on Thursday. We might play Simple Planes because I have a giveaway for that, and I think that might be a one-night thing. So we might just if it's a thing you can do just in one session, we might do that, and then we'll do something different. But yeah, love and hugs, everybody. Love and hugs, and high fives. And you're all the best. So take care, everybody. I'm gonna switch us off. And I will see you on the Discord. Oh, sorry, I should probably say this, right? I'm Trooper SJP, if you don't know. This is the academic foxhole full of the best battle buddies you'll ever see, where all we do is nerd out and think philosophically about games and the world. And if I have a Discord, and if you would like to join it, you certainly should, because we continue on the conversation there. If you type in an exclamation point Discord, you will find the Discord. I also have a YouTube channel, which I think if you type YouTube will get you the link, and that's where I archive all of the streams that I've done. So if you want to see older things, you can sort of catch up on those if they've migrated off of the VOD. And that is, I think, all the things you should know. Take care of yourselves. Get some sleep, drink some water, do something that will make you happy. Have a milkshake, or sit in the sun, or do something for yourself. So love and hugs, everybody, and I will see you all on the flip side. Bye, everyone.